And welcome back. It's Pixels and Pints for your little earplug Sunday afternoon treasure thing that I just couldn't figure out what to say. We are back for another news and reviews recording. It's our good one. With me as usual is Pete.
Hello.
And Dan.
Hello.
There is a slight delay, apparently, from when I say their names and they respond. This is going to be a fun recording.
That is going to be interesting.
I think it was a human delay, not a technology delay.
Oh, excellent. We are, again, reviewing a bunch of beers. We're talking about a bunch of movie content, game content, whatever content comes to our mind, to be honest. And as we do it, reviewing some, I think, primarily Aussie beers today, everyone? Yes?
All mine's
Yep.
Aussie.
Yes.
All mine's Aussie.
Nods
and
all
local.
round. Hey, look at that. We're doing well. And yes, let's kick off with some beers. I'm going to kick off with my beer because I'm still talking, so I may as well just keep that train a-rolling. I'm having a New World Pilsner. Love starting with a Pilsner. It's delicious and refreshing. Slightly warm day. This is the last can I had from the Mountain Culture fourth birthday pack they did. They did 4 beers. They named them all after parts of the brewing process, which I thought was very clever. So this is the Lauter, which is their New World Pilsner. They have a dry hopped crisp Pilsner base. They've used German. Hallertau Mittelfrüh and Citra is what they've done. And it pours deliciously. It's a slightly cloudy. Not as see-through and crisp and clear as you're kind of used to for the few Pilsners we've had recently.
Is that chill haze or is that hazy?
I mean, it's Mountain Culture. It's probably just hazy. Who knows? Do they know any other style? We don't know.
And interestingly, Lauter is German for volume up, in addition to being a beer part of the beer making process.
I don't know if that was a subtle dig for me to speak closer to the microphone.
Make
but I'll
it
take
louder.
This is being enjoyed.
That'd make sense because the volume up Lauter is the separation of grain and liquid. So
and water,
volume up in the kettle.
Yeah, there we go.
It's a long bow drawn, Dan, but let's roll with it.
We've drawn longer bows, let's be honest.
Crazy Germans.
I will shout out that I am drinking this in my brand new beer glasses. Thank you, Dad. He got me these for my birthday, so shout out to old J Pig. Thank you, Jeremy. From Hallertau Brewery in New Zealand. They're lovely to drink out of. Very, very nice glassware. But yeah, it's kind of orangey. I wouldn't say pithy. It's just kind of orangey, lemony. Not as crisp as some of the other Pilsners I've had recently. It's missing a little bit of that like bite, which you kind of want from that. But it is perfect for, walking home from the bottle shop before the sun beating down.
It's quite warm out too, yeah.
I knew exactly what beer I was having when I was walking home from the shop. I was like, nothing that I've just bought. I've got that one in the fridge and I'm cracking it today because it's perfect for this weather. And I will give that a solid 4 out of 5.
Nice.
4 out of 5 birthdays for Mountain Culture. Yeah, so that was for their 4th birthday. Well done, crazy bastards. Yeah.
What do you got, Pete?
What have you got?
I'm drinking Filter Brewing's Watermelon Hibiscus Pash. It's a bit of a controversial name for it, but that's okay. I don't think it's got any passion fruit in it. I got to say though, it's great. It's been a while since I've had a sour on the podcast. Actually, it looks a little peachier in the camera than it is in real life, but you get a really solid watermelon hit out of it, which is, watermelon's quite a subtle flavor in beer a lot of the time. So I don't know what hibiscus tastes like. I don't walk around gardens eating flowers, but I assume it's in there. A little bit of sweetness on the end, and it's nicely soured. It's not puckering, but it is a Berliner Weiss, so it will tend towards a little bit more subtle sourness than punch in the mouth, warhead style stuff.
So they just recently changed their watermelon supplier about 12 months ago, somewhere in that time frame, to get that watermelon flavor to be more predominant. And they just found they changed their hibiscus supplier probably 6 months ago. And it's somebody sort of local in my way, just past my brewery out here. And that's all they do. They're just hibiscus syrup suppliers. So they're
right.
super focused. And Max, the head brewer there, was really happy when he found them because of all that boost in flavor in the newer batches now is exactly where he wants it. And I saw him just after he
Good
did
old Maxi.
the first batch with the new hibiscus in it. And he was like a kidney candy store. He was so happy with how it had come out. He's like, you got to try this. I walked into the bar and he's like, you got to have this. And I'm like, okay, cool. No worries. I was going to get it anyway, but so grabbed it. And yeah, he was just so stoked that it had finally sort of boosted that flavor profile.
I had a beer with that boy yesterday, actually. What a good lad.
Oh, did you?
He's a good lad.
Yeah, he bought me a beer.
Yeah.
Delightful.
Good.
I'm going to give that a 4.5. That's it's an unusual flavor to nail, and they have absolutely fucking nailed it. So it's 3.2%, so you could drink shitloads of them and not trash yourself.
Lovely.
Yeah, and it's nice and refreshing for this quite warm afternoon.
Well, I think we've all kind of gone down the same route with the warmer day and easier, refreshing beers to go. I got Sunday Road Samba Passion Fruit Sour. Sunday Road.
That's a fun can.
Down Cronulla way. Yeah, it's a digital print can. This is the second or third time they've done the Samba. I don't think it's always been passion fruit. I could be wrong in that. But it's got a big passion fruit aroma to it and big passion fruit flavor as well. It's quite light on the body, which is what you would expect for the sour. It's not super sour. It's got a little bit of tartness to it, but not super tartness. Mm-hmm. It's actually got a little bit of sweetness that you would get from eating like an actual passion fruit as well. Passion fruit flavor comes through really well. I'd like that sourness just to be a bit more, but it's super refreshing and it's a 5%er. So it's a decent whack for a sour beer. I think I'm going to have to go. I'm either going to go 3.75 or 4.25. So I think I'm going to have to round it up and go 4.25.
Because you're still carrying that fucking can.
Hey, I told Ed that arsehole quarter point man would be back. So I got to hold true to my word.
Just for you, Ed. Just for you.
Cool. Should we kick off with some news, Tom?
Let's kick off with some news.
Tom's going to read off the teleprompter.
We interrupt this broadcast with some breaking news from the front.
Go to Tom.
Yes. Welcome. So, some Xbox games are coming to PlayStation and PC. I don't know what those documents were. They were probably car parking fines, so let's just throw them back to the chasm from whence they came. So, yes, this was from the official Xbox podcast. It had old mate on it, Phil Spencer, the big boss of Xbox. Look, we're getting 4 games coming over. They're coming to, at least 2 of them are going to Switch as well. But we've got Sea of Thieves, which is the big Pirates game. So, yeah, look, if you were looking for that pirate fix, just wait a bit. Don't go buy Skull and Bones because it's apparently shit.
Really
you got
shit.
Hi-Fi Rush, it's a cel-shaded animation. It's a rhythm action game. And when I say a rhythm action game, it's not the action is you have to do it to a rhythm. Say like, I don't know if you ever saw that Metal Singer, the game that came out, which was Doom, but you had to, you got more points if you shot to the beat. It came out recently. Yes, so this one's more like if you
I was picturing that lightsaber
time
game with the Move controller.
Beat Saber.
No, a bit different
Beat
to that.
Saber,
So
yeah.
this is more like if you complete an action in time with the music it's playing. The gimmick is the guy has a music player in his chest, and that emphasizes his attacks and makes his attacks more powerful. You get more bonuses when you do things in time with the music that's playing. Looks interesting, but apparently people are very excited about it. Apparently it's got great reviews on Xbox. There's Grounded, which is I summed up as co-op Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. So basically you play in a backyard, but you're tiny and you've got a survival-based game, co-op survival-based game, but you know the ants are giant and you're a tiny person. You got to build a base and all that kind of stuff. And lastly, Pertinent, which is a medieval kind of side-scrolling detective story. And the animation for that is like you're playing through a living tapestry. So it's like that tapestry style of artwork. And that's how your character is portrayed, and he kind of moves the same way.
Looks quite unique.
Look, they look interesting. Yeah, it's very unique. So they're all coming over. They were Xbox exclusive games. They're now moving over to I'm sure most of them are already on PC anyway, but yes, they're coming over to PlayStation, and the last two, Grounded and Pertinent, are definitely coming to Nintendo Switch if you have one of those.
So the name of that final game is Pentiment, not
it's a
Pertinent.
Pentiment, sorry.
Yeah.
My bad.
That's all good. It's just for anyone Googling it and wondering why they can't find it.
They look not the Xbox games I was hoping for, if I'm going to be completely honest. I know we talked about in chat that I would loved if the Fable series came across. I loved playing Gears of War when it first came out, when my mates had an Xbox. Halo, obviously, I've played a bunch of those in the past. But look, it feels like a step in the right direction for where we need to go to kind of get over console like exclusives. I think it's endangering to the game industry as a whole. Like, sure, release it first on one console, but 6 months, 12 months later, then definitely ship it over to another one. Like,
I think there are a couple of good games.
You think you're just going to double your sales? Like,
there are a couple of good games to release too. Like, they're releasing 2 co-op games and 2 single player games, which I think is a good blend. Sea of Thieves is Monkey Island but co-op, and it's so much fun. We played it for a little while, my Friday night crew, and I mean the fun thing is you look at like Black Flag and where Skull and Bones falls down, the boarding mechanic in Black Flag, where you would get on and then you would go and do ship-to-ship boarding, I'm talking about here. Once you disable a ship enough, you can get close and hook it in and jump on board and melee against Swashbuckle. Yeah. In Sea of Thieves, what we used to do was you can load yourself into a cannon. And so we used to have fun. You'd load into a cannon, and then one of your team members would aim the cannon and try and land you on the deck of the other ship, rather than actual close
splat into the side or over the edge.
Oh yeah, like so it's so much fun too, because if you overshoot it too, you just watch the ship sail through underneath you while you land in the water on the other side. Like it's built for stupidity. Like Sea of Thieves, it's Monkey Island cross Jack Sparrow kind of shenanigans. It's a load of fun. The only thing we found about it was there's no, and it's a good thing too, so people can't out level new players or anything. There's no leveling up in it. Everything that you collect money wise and complete missions to get points and money or anything like that is just purely for cosmetics. So other than some sort of story elements and things like that, there's not a huge amount pushing you forward. So we played it for a good few weeks, and we still every now and then for maybe 12 to 18 months after it jumped back into it, just because it's like, it's just fun. It's just mindless
on PlayStation.
Fun. Yeah,
I've been watching it for a long time, so it'd be cool to check it out.
Yeah, and there's a lot of content in it now, story-wise content. So yeah.
Yes, cool. But no, it's a good chance for. I think it's a good chance now for Sony to return Volley, and they should definitely throw something out. Like they've already started, obviously pushing some of the first-party exclusive games to PC. You know, your Uncharted, your Horizons, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, share the love.
Yeah, I think so too.
Give Xbox some of those games; they deserve them. Like especially big properties, like it doesn't have to be characters. Like maybe you don't want to put Kratos on an Xbox for whatever reason. Like they probably. Like, let's be honest, Xbox probably won't ever ship Halo to Sony. It's too pride-driven in terms of that's our baby. We're never going to... Spider-Man, 100%.
They're happy to hand it over to TV studios to fuck it up, though.
Yeah, well, that's a different thing. They're trying to make money off that anyway. But yeah. They did also talk about, apparently there's some new hardware announcements coming towards the holiday season, as they put it. So, yeah, towards the end of the year. So whether that's a new version of the X, S, Z, Y, pick a letter, any letter. Which one do you want? O? That's another one in there. Sure, let's use that. So we don't know what they're going to do there, but
my Xbox O is playing up.
This is also comes on the back of Sony saying that they feel that the PS5 is halfway through its life cycle as well. So, there's
some rumors about a PS5 Pro already.
Yeah. Well, they've just done the Slim, so it makes sense. So, I'm sure within the coming year and a half or so that we'll start to see rumors of the 6 or whatever they're going to call it next for new tech. And shaking his head furiously, how dare they?
It's just ridiculous. I mean, we took so long with shortage of chips and things like that for people to even get their hands on 5s. There's bugger all exclusive content for 5s. And there's already that talk about halfway through its life cycle. Like 6 is going to roll through, and 5 is just going to go by the wayside and get like, why bother? Like, why did we all waste our money on a 5 when 3/4 of the stuff is still cross-platform, cross-generation? So, anyway,
yeah, I mean that's the thing. There have been so many games that have been released for the 5, which are just either 3 or 4 remakes, remasters. Yeah. Looking at you, Last of Us. Anyway, let's not get bogged down in that. But that does lead to what Dan was just talking about. Sony has said there are no first-party studio games for existing franchises, and that's in bold and italics, coming to PS5 until at least April 2025. The games they kind of referenced when they said that were like, you're not getting anything else for your God of Wars or your Spider-Mans or your Uncharted, all that kind of stuff.
Assassin's Creed? Oh, that's not first-party.
That's not first-party studios. So that's the thing. You will get some first-party games coming out, but they won't be something from the PlayStation Studios group of gaming studios. Well, no existing franchises. They might release new IP, but so yes, that's
new
until
IP?
At least April.
That sounds unfounded in this day and age.
How dare they?
Dare they not just regurgitate constantly?
Oh, well, regurgitation has worked for birds for so many years, so why not work for the gaming industry?
So is their cloaca. I'm not suggesting they adopt it.
Well, I mean, there's a market for it.
Get on with it, Tom.
You're the one who said cloaca. You threw me off. Sony have also announced, look, if you're wanting to update your security, you can use a passkey now rather than passwords for signing into consoles in the PS Store. Peter, is that a good thing? Bad thing? Tell us, IT man.
I haven't looked at how long the passkey is, so I don't know.
Excellent.
Just put me on the fucking spot. Passkeys mean different things to different companies. So if it's a 4-digit fucking PIN number style passkey, then no, it's going to be shit in terms of security. If it's so I don't think so.
I'm going to be completely honest. I use that as an excuse for me to take a sip of my beer. That's why I threw it to you. And then in a bit of fun news, some Google engineers have managed to hack the PS Portal to play some PSP games offline and natively through the software, the installing some emulation software. So, hey, if you're desperate to play some PSP games with a DualShock 5 kind of controller, then you can now with your PS Portal if you've forked out the $320 for it. They figured out it ran on Android, and they were like, we know how to break that. Let's go. Look, there's some good games on PSP. The only 2 I can think of are the God of War spin-offs because I never had one, but bit of fun for those who have those. Moving right along, some game releases. Look, Skull and Bones, Suicide Squad, fucking dead in the water / dead in Metropolis.
Land on the high seas.
Wow. Yeah. What a fuck up. Like,
it's just unbelievable.
Go
isn't
on,
it?
say it.
No. I mean, I think it's all
not
been
surprising.
It's
after all the delays they
ages.
had, like, 100%. Like, you just see how much trouble they were in.
Both games took 7 to 9 years to be made and got pushed back. Skull and Bones got pushed up like 6 times or something, and it's not what anybody wanted. Like, people when they announced it, people were going, excellent, a follow-up to Black Flag, but outside of the AC universe or AC bound mythology, and everybody was like, cool, give it to us. And then 6 or 7 years
it.
Yeah, they both day before it. And not on the glitch side of it, although Suicide Squad has had some glitch issues. But like even Skull and Bones, there's a few comparisons visually, and
I mean, when they're getting 3 and 4 star, 3 and 4s out of 10 reviews from like established review sites, being just like, look, sure, you get through the initial story, it's interesting enough, but then the end game content is just, it's boring and dull. It's like, why would you bother?
Well, especially for Suicide Squad, they the spoilers here for anybody who cares long enough to jump forward 30 seconds. But the end game content sounds like it's going to be 12 more Brainiacs to kill off. At the end of it, you get word that there's like 13 Brainiacs. You've killed one of like 13, and it's like, cool. Like I would be, even if I'd paid and played for it, I'd be ropeable if that's what they were setting up for ongoing. So
I don't know if you've seen the other thing they're coming back on, and it feels like the biggest backpedal in a long time is that the Suicide Squad the Justice League you actually kill are not the Justice League. So this is the big, which it really feels like a backpedal, and it's like no, they're just clones that Brainiac has, and like the real Justice League are still captured on Brainiac's ship or whatever. And it's just kind of like, oh, you're just saying that because you fucked Batman's story. Like you kind of fucked the whole lot of them, but there's been some people who've gone through who have obviously for some reason, whatever reason, are dedicated to the game, and they've gone through and they've found these things that hint to like this is coming, and they've secret codes they've deciphered from using calendars and numbers and shit, and it's just like, okay, all right, it really feels like a massive backpedal. Like
it's a shit game.
Well done, good luck.
The one thing I'll give them props for is character design. I mean, Superman is pretty hard to change. Green Lantern's pretty hard to change. Flash is pretty hard to change. Batman in the Arkham universe we've seen before. The Wonder Woman costume, man, bang on. Like, I absolutely love.
Yeah, it's kind of like urban Wonder Woman. Like,
it's just with some armor elements, and I think at one stage she's got like a scarf around her shoulders and things like that. I think it's absolutely a fantastic costume design. I like all of the main 4 Suicide Squad costume design. I think Captain Boomerang looks great in his sort of outlandish, traditional / modernized kind of getup. I think the character design for King Shark is cool, and I think Harley and Deadshot like sort of fit right into their character. Just look
like the movie version, though. Yeah.
I like those designs. They fit into that Arkham world. Harley's a bit different looking at what she was in the other games, but I still think it's a good costume design for her. The voice sounds good from her. She's a pretty iconic voice across the animated series and the Arkham series. So to have a new voice actor there is she did a pretty good job of that. I think I'll give him props for that.
It's also not meant to be Kevin Conroy's last recorded part for Batman. Apparently there's another animated thing that he has already pre-recorded before his passing.
Yeah.
And they have more game content, whether or not it's whatever game it's for, but they have
it's an animated
stuff
movie.
He's already recorded. Yeah. So there is like, everyone was like, this is a pretty shitty way to send off Kevin Conroy by shooting the Batman in the head. That's a massive spoiler, but whatever. It's all over the internet.
They did say it was his last performance, and then once everybody backlashed to it, they've gone, no, it's his last video game performance. He's got some lines in the animated.
The backpedal's it's a very heavy backpedal.
Oh yeah. It's like trying to row backwards going down a waterfall. That one.
Yeah. But hey, let's move on to some successful games. Helldivers 2 is apparently amazing if you can get in to play it. It's just the servers are just so full. Yeah. But everyone I've spoken to, like I've been playing a lot of games online recently, and every game I've jumped in online, everyone's like, "Hey, you guys playing Helldivers 2?" Because oh my god, it's amazing. It's also like some of the best cooperative online multiplayer that people have played in a long time, which feels really good. It's like you have to work together. There is no like hero soloing it while everyone just kind of stands back and gets the credits. Like you have to work as that kind of team.
And even down to one character's got the rocket launcher, but another character carries the ammo for the rocket launcher. And they're like the other characters beside him loading the rockets into the back while one guy's shooting. It's like, that sort of co-op stuff like absolutely tickles my fancy.
Yeah. And I think the really cool thing as well is the game director's been like, so many people have just now discovered Starship Troopers as a film as a result of playing Helldivers 2. So it's renewed interest in that. Yeah, it's absolutely,
having a renaissance.
Stellar film. Yeah, it is. Look, very well done to those guys. We got some new games that we were interested in. Pacific Drive. I know that's something Dan and I had said we did have an interest in. Is the kind of roguelike driving game.
All three of us did.
Yeah. While it's like kind of the apocalypse is happening around you, or some like whatever's going on, and you build up the old station wagon, the wind 'em up kind of station wagon, and then Banishers Ghost of New Eden also launched. So I'm excited to finally get into that.
I was gonna jump into both. I was gonna buy Banishers on launch day, but the game I'm going to talk about later on came out the day before.
Usurped it.
Yep, and I got sucked into that, and I'm like, if I buy Banishers, one of them's gonna sit around, so I'm just gonna finish the one I'm on, and then I'm gonna buy Banishers, and then I'll probably jump into Pacific Drive as well. I think it looks good, and a lot of people saying yes, it's a very unique gameplay loop. It's not for everybody. It has some fiddly bits to it, but it's. I watched a 30-40 minute gameplay by Splattercat Gaming, and it looks like it's got the right amount of fiddliness and the right amount of story elements to it to make it a good delve in and play.
Yeah, fuck yeah. And look, some updates for some games already out as well. If you've played AC Mirage yet, you finally get the permadeath mode if you feel bold enough to go through the game playing that.
Seems like a really loose mechanic-based game.
Yeah, I was going to say, has that happened in an AC game before?
Not that I can recall.
Yeah.
But like I said...
I mean, it is meant to be a much shorter story, so it kind of makes sense.
But like I said, the actual...
Where they test it with us?
Sure, but the actual game mechanics are fucking loose. Like, it's always been a little buggy. There's input delays. There's fucking response delays. You can hit a riposte perfectly and still miss. I don't think it's the right kind of game to add a permadeath to. I think it's just, we're out of ideas. Fuck it, let's copy someone else's.
Don't worry, I totally agree with Pete from my recent experiences. Yeah, I've been having less than fun. Spidey 2 is also getting a new game plus in March. They're also releasing a bunch of other content with it. They're doing some really nice community fundraising, though, if you pre-order they're just suits in the game, but it's going to help some less privileged people. So if that's something you're interested in helping out with, it's a good way to do it.
I need to, sorry to bring this up on the podcast, Tom. I need to ask you something about Spider-Man 2 offline.
Scandal!
Not scandalous at all. I just want to know something. I'm not going to play it. I just want to know something, but I don't want to throw it in as a spoiler for anybody else.
Yeah. Message me now while we're talking. I'll respond to you. Hey, Ed, I know you're very excited. Final Fantasy Rebirth is out this week. I know he's been waiting for that for a while. It's been getting great reviews so far from early release reviews, 8s and 9s out of 10s. So I played the remake for Final Fantasy VII. If I didn't have such a massive fucking backlog, I'd probably be jumping into it again. But it's meant to be huge. If it's as good as gameplay was for the remake, then you're in for a treat. I'm sure Ed is positively salivating, just sitting there waiting for his calendar to get around to Friday. And then Dark Forces remaster, Star Wars Dark Forces, one of the earlier Star Wars games, is getting a remaster, as many of them are. So that's also coming out this week. If you are a member who uses the PS Plus extra, so you have access to the catalog, some games that are coming that you can add to your collection for the time they're on. You got AC Valhalla, Lego Jurassic Park, and Lego Worlds for the kids or the kids at heart. This guy. And then Outer Worlds, which I really enjoyed. It's kind so that's the Spacer Edition, which has all the DLC as well. So the DLC did look kind of a nice little extra spin on the story that you get. And then some other releases. So, Peter, you're an Elden Ring fan now. Yeah. Shadow of the Erdtree just got announced. It's coming out June 21st, which is the big DLC everyone's been waiting for. Who played this?
They've dropped their first video trailer of actual content too.
Yeah,
that was 3 days ago.
This is getting it's getting a physical release. There was a collector's edition going for the biggest collector's edition was like $550, and it got you a massive resin statue. You got the base game plus the DLC plus all the other things. But yeah, it was like a 50 centimeter statue though. It looked pretty fucking.
Oh
good.
yeah, it was massive.
Yeah. So
Set
yes,
in a map that is huge too. Apparently, it's the
the map. That was the thing. They did a comparison. It was pretty fucking big for a DLC.
Yeah, so
almost
the largest,
like its own game.
Yeah, so the largest area in the base game is a place called Leonia Lakes, and it's massive. And so the DLC will be exclusively positioned in a map that's slightly larger than that. Having said that, the base game has like 6 or 7 regions. So Leonia might be the largest region, but it's got 6 or 7 other ones as well, plus the biggest underground network of caves I've ever seen in a video game. So I also just had a side note there that Elden Ring is still selling like hotcakes. Apparently the pace has picked up now. The DLC has been announced as well, but they're up to 23 million sales in 2 years, which is a fuck ton.
Spider-Man 2 only just hit 10 million as well, like for such a popular character to like.
Yeah, although I mean, you say that, but Elden Ring has a huge following through the Bloodborne fans. It's been out for 2 whole years, and it was Game of the Year, which would have gotten its own level of attention.
It's also meant to be like the really good jumping point in if you've ever wanted to jump into like From Software games as well, which I'm sure is really helping that as well. And that's exactly what you need. Something like well along in the series to finally be like, come, welcome, let us kill you multiple times.
Well, wasn't it Dark Souls? Wasn't the tagline for Dark Souls "Prepare to die" or something?
Yeah, it was.
I mean, that's the most common screen you see is you died.
Oh,
in any From Software game. Yeah, I've black played, and then Red Riding, you died.
Yeah, Dark Souls 2. Yeah, and yeah,
that's all you see.
Yeah.
Some other DSLs coming out in the next couple little while. Warhammer 40k is coming to Powerwash Simulator. Get excited, Pete.
I'm amazed. I'm amazed that they did this crossover. I wrote all hail the Mark II Aqua Santica Aquabus, which is the name of the weapon. It's basically a Warhammer 40k vehicle model viewer with a Powerwash simulator baked into it.
Yeah. It's dumb as fuck, but it's getting massive downloads and rave reviews for just how like therapeutic and peaceful it is. Just get in there and be like, yeah, I'm going to clean this tank. It's
Wash
fine.
the blood out of the inside of the APC.
Exactly. Yeah. A couple of guts fall out of the tank tread and everything. Yeah.
Oh, it's even it's within the Warhammer environment too. Yes. It's not just Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, the Mars the Mars Adepticus Mechanicus, I think it is. Adeptus Mechanicus are doing all the work. Yeah.
Oh, anyway, I love that. That's fantastic.
That's a bit of fun. Also, Peacemaker from the John Cena character from the DC universe is coming to Mortal Kombat 1. And he has all his helmet abilities. I watched the brutality that he does, and it's very Peacemaker-y. He fires the shotgun between his legs like it's his massive cock. That's well on point with what they did with the character there. And Eagly's there, just pecking people's eyes out. Thank God for that. And then that's me done. I'm going to shut up for a while now.
Okay. I just dropped in for game releases. Nightingale. Nightingale's the big survival.
I wasn't sure if you'd seen it. Yeah.
Yeah. I've been following this one for a long while. It's the big survival game that's released this early access last week or something. It's meant to be one of the biggest genre releases in a long time, but definitely the biggest one this year. It's set in a fantasy Victorian world where the Fae exist, and the mechanic of going to new biomes is really cool. You get like tarot cards, and you mix and match the tarot cards on a gate, like a Stargate kind of thing, and that determines the minerals and the difficulty of and the biome that you're going to go to when you go through this Stargate kind of thing, and what you can mine and how you can level up and the difficulty on the other side of that Stargate. And you can build your base on the more peaceful side in the realm that you're in. And the whole idea is you've been cut off from Nightingale is the main city, and the whole idea is to somehow get through these realms, build enough resources and I think they call it a homestead. Build your homestead to a level. it's a bit of a new mechanic. I'll talk about that in just 2 seconds. It's to get back to Nightingale, to get back to the city. And there's giants in it, and you fight the giants. There's a whole bunch of mythological creatures in there. I think some of it's procedurally generated and some of it's handmade. But it looks great. I mean, it's in early access. I've heard that it's not for everybody within this genre. I really like the genre. I'm going to talk about a game later on in this same genre, a very old one. But it seems very unique in what it's trying to do. You've got to build up your homestead to a certain level before you can access certain things and certain realms through this gate. So it forces you to build and level up your homestead and your equipment and everything before you can get through. But the whole cool mechanics of Victorian area, steampunkish, thrown with fey magic, like the way you do the whole Mary Poppins thing as a glider. You have an umbrella that can be extended as your glide mechanic to get down. So I think it's a really cool idea, really cool aesthetic. And I mean, if they pull off those big giant boss battles, it's going to be something else altogether. So I'm super excited to get to. I'm not going to play it in early access. I'm going to let it roll for another probably 6 to 12 months. Yeah. Let it cook through a little bit, and then I'm going to jump in. We'll probably jump in our Friday night crew in probably 6 to 12 months. But
I saw a little gameplay video of it, and I was just like, "Oh, so this game's been made for Dan, so that's fun."
There's a few of those floating around at the moment.
If I get to wear a Peaky Blinders cap, a nice vest, walking around with a shotgun, taking out fey monsters, I'm more than happy with that.
Last bit of news.
Some people are easily pleased.
last bit of news, because we're a bit over time at the moment. So Gareth Edwards has just announced he'll be directing the next Jurassic movie. It's Jurassic Park, but not, and it's not Jurassic World, because that trilogy finished up too.
It's Jurassic Universe. Where are we going? You've done Park, you've done
Ascension.
World. Where is it?
Jurassic
Planet?
Ascension.
Yeah. Or no, they bring it back. It's Jurassic State. Yeah, we go back. We're going. One step back, we'll go one step forward. Yeah,
slated for July 2025. So Jurassic I reckon that'll be sick. Gareth Edwards directing a Jurassic Park film, I think, will be really fucking cool. This is that really run and gun documentary style war film. You could see him doing a good job of kind of changing the genre up, and I think if they want to keep making these fucking movies and recycling the IP, they really do need to take it in a new direction. So,
I agree. I'd much prefer to see him keep doing new IP, but I can see how he'll do a fantastic job of this. They give him free reign of this.
I mean, it's also a smart move for him, where it's look, do this one, get paid for it, and then you use that money to make your new IP.
Fund the next film. Yeah,
get in good with another studio, get him to give him something, let him do his own thing after that.
Yeah,
and I just want to say he was on Corridor Crew. Corridor Crew, the most recent Corridor Crew VFX artist React. He was originally a VFX artist. Became a lead filmmaker, so it's really great to see his development, and that they completely talk about the creator in this, and it's really, really great to see his insight into the stylistic choices that he made for that movie. We've gone on heaps about it, that ILM did all the special effects for that movie through his direction and vision. And it's just, it's wonderful the way he talks about it with so much passion. Is everything we've said about that movie, you could see him coming through in the style that he films in. And it was a big passion project for him, and he nailed it. So go watch him on the Corridor Crew.
Yeah, cool. Should we talk about our second beers?
Yes.
I
saw go first, Peter.
Okay.
Yep.
Fine. I'm drinking Yuli Brew's Smoked Mango Chili Sour. Excuse me. It's one of the special batches. It's 4.4%, I want to say. 4.7. Head disappeared instantly. I might just be because I have some residual from the Berliner Weiss in it. You get a lot of smokiness. It's almost like it's got that really nice bacon flavor through it. I'm not getting a whole lot of chili.
Chili has oil in it too, which cuts and any oil in a beer will cut down head retention.
And I'm getting no mango, but it has warmed up a little bit because it has been sitting here for 40 minutes, so that may explain that. It's a very light sourness to it. Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. It's certainly different, and I love a good smoky beer. But yeah, in terms of balance of flavors, it's almost all bacon, no mango chili. Maybe just a touch of fire at the end. I'm going to give it a 3.75.
Julio.
Thomas holding
excellent.
a can for some reason.
I have that beer for my next one.
Ah, very good. I was just admiring the artwork, to be honest. So yes, I'm having the. Well, only we'd planned this. Like we haven't planned shit. So I'm having the Pine Line Ice Cream Sour from. It's from the Collabuary 2024 between Seeker and 10 other breweries. So this is with Stoic Brewing. And yeah, look at that. It's the panther going through the jungle. Look, they're very tongue-in-cheek written on the back. This beer is inspired by one of our favorite childhood treats and includes pineapple, lime, vanilla, and lactose. Can you guess what it is? Yes, I can. It's a fucking splice. And it's delicious, and it tastes exactly like a splice. It's amazing. Again, same kind of thing. My head absolutely dissipated instantly. Like it just went, poured in the glass, stayed for 2 seconds, and they went, fuck you, I'm out. But
lactose.
it's delicious. Yeah, and it's that it's not overpowering lactose. It is really it is just accentuating those pine and lime flavors. It is very, very well balanced. This is if you're trying to make that ice frozen treat kind of thing, they've in my mind excelled at it. It's 7.5%. And yeah, it's showing none of that booze. It's really hidden underneath. It's very moreish. I really am just excited to drink this whole glass. I'm going to give it a 4.5.
Nice, very nice.
We had that yesterday was local beer day run by Crafty Pint. We did an event at our brewery out at the Australian Brewery in Rouse Hill. We made 5 beers from our brewery, put them on tap, and then we got 3 beers from 3 other breweries. So we had 14 beers all up. That was one of the ones we got from Seeker. My dad came down for the day. I've mentioned before, he's a diabetic, so I always get him to stay away from anything that's got too much sugar in it. And he asked for that one specifically. I'm like, you sure? It's got heaps of lactose in it, and it's a 440ml can. Like, you sure you want that one? He's like, yep. And he loved it. So I'm glad he only had one, because otherwise he'd be through the roof this morning. My beer is... Oh,
yep.
Good?
Very good. You go.
My beer is from Squinters Brewing out at Penrith. It is Auntie Sally's Mixed Berry Sour. Pretty simple label there. Keeping it simple, keeping it good.
Are they new?
Squinters has been around for probably 2 years. They're off the back of the Mobile Can It guys. I'm pretty sure pretty sure it's Can It. So that's their brewery on the side of their mobile packaging side of things. It's called Squinters. It's called Squinters because the people that live out in Penrith Way, when they drive from Penrith to the city, they're driving into the sun. So they're squinting. And when they drive home in the afternoon, they're driving into the sun in the sunset. So they're squinting coming back. So apparently it's a bit of a thing out there that people from that area refer to themselves, or others refer to them as squinters, because they're always driving into the sun. So that's where the name comes from.
Those and poor bastards.
Their logo is the sun setting over the Blue Mountains. So that is. Oh,
that's a nice logo. That's good.
So a mixed berry sour, straight away, as soon as I started to pour it, before I even drank it, I could smell the blueberry, blackberry kind of smell coming off it. I don't actually know what berries is in it. It's got very little information on the can itself. but it's got a good berry characteristic. It's got a little bit more tartness than the other sour I had, so this one's balancing out that one very well. Different fruits both express the fruit character really well. This one's got a little bit more tartness. Still going to go 4.25. Still a very, very good beer. I think they're both balanced in different ways.
Nice.
Very nice.
Very cool. We've got about 20 minutes to talk through some trailers. We've had quite a few actually drop.
Yeah,
recently.
I think we'll talk through pretty quickly about these.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys. Like Death Stranding 2, it's weird still. It's just weird. It's Kojima, it's weird. It's just fucking weird.
I'll play it.
Why is a mask made out of blue hands? Why?
And why is George Miller in it?
I have to admit, I haven't seen the trailer, but I will definitely play it because I enjoyed the first one so much.
Naughty boy. Judas, I'm excited for. Judas is by Ken Levine, who did the original Bioshocks, and it looks like New World Bioshock. Like,
did look good.
That trailer had me sitting up going, oh, hang on, what am I watching? Like, I was very keen for that. It looks cool.
It's definitely got the bones, the skeleton of Bioshock, but it's got a shiny new skin on side of that exoskeleton. So
looks like magic and guns. Almost looks steampunk.
Yeah, that's what Bioshock
which is kind of what Bioshock was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, if you haven't played the Bioshock series and that they are available on PS4, like, go get them and play them. They're great. They're still great. They hold up. And then Rise of Ronin.
Please.
Dan, I'm really emulating what you said recently, where you were like the animation and the artistry looks lackluster. It doesn't look any better in the later stuff. It still looks a bit half done.
Yeah,
which I think unfortunately is a side effect of that's just what Team Ninja does. They don't focus on that. They focus on the gameplay mechanics and that falls to the wayside kind of thing. But yeah, it looks like an early PS4 game. Like
it has to.
It doesn't look up to date,
but it has to do something different to Ghost of Tsushima, or it's just everyone's going to compare it. So if they go with something that's a little bit more artistic and inspired or creative rather than go for reality, I couldn't blame them. Not that there wasn't a lack of artistry or creativity in Ghost of Tsushima, but you know what I mean? It needs to feel different. They
have gone, I think, more technology, like historical technology, like vein of it, because they're starting to bring more gunpowder into it, and like you had elements of gunpowder in Tsushima, but not to the extent you're going to have it in this.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah. Also, you know, the Team Ninja games are notorious for being super punishing compared to what I think Tsushima was as a Sucker Punch game. Like in terms of the difficulty, I think that's the kind of people they're more trying to attract into this. And I think they're being very clever in this, and they're going like, yeah, it does look like Ghost of Tsushima, doesn't it? Yes, you were good at Ghost, so come play this. You surely won't hate it in 3 months when you've already paid us. So
there's a 300 odd year difference in terms of setting too.
Yeah,
because Ghost was set in 1280s, 1270s, and guns didn't come to Japan until 1543. I'm googling this. It's not like I'm walking around with an encyclopedia.
No, I'm pretty sure the game is set in like 1580. I'm pretty sure that's when the game's set.
Yeah, so there's a 300 year difference in terms of technology and culture, and the culture will be the interesting part because Japan's culture went through a lot of evolution in those 300-400.
So they are talking in this. I did watch the director kind of talk about it, and they're like, it's literally people who are pro Shogun and anti Shogun. So like that's the big divide in this. There are some neutral players in it, but you get to pick which camp you want to kind of go into. And that affects the style of gameplay you get. So yeah, look, it looks like, I'm not saying they haven't well thought it out at all. It looks like they put a lot of focus on the gameplay you're going to be going through. But again, it's just kind of like it just looks, when it looks a bit unpolished, it's just kind of like it throws you a little bit. Like so that's the only downside for it. I'm hoping that a demo, because it's more of the gameplay side for me as well, being a Team Ninja game, that I'm a bit like cautious about going into, because I played some of their other games in demos and I've just haven't enjoyed them. So I'm hoping there is a demo that comes out so I can, dip the toe in, see if it's enjoyable, love the time period, like love the setting and stuff. So I really would like to obviously we all loved Ghosts, so would crave another game set in that kind of time period and area. So yeah, but we'll see. We'll see as more comes out. I think Dan should talk about Forever Winter. This is your find, baby.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a random one that popped up in my news feed last night. It was just a cinematic trailer, a post-apocalyptic kind of AI Terminator. Something takes over the world, and
It's
you
so
play as
Terminator.
a human element. That the art style caught me. It's kind of a mashup between a kind of it's less sci-fi than Terminator, more Mad Max meets Terminator, like duster jackets with some mechanical bits and pieces on the backpacks and rifles and that sort of thing. Like I said, it was only a cinematic that we saw, so we don't even know gameplay wise what it is. I didn't look up any further. I don't know whether it names what sort of gameplay it is.
It's listed as a cooperative horror third-person shooter.
Okay, so a third-person shooter. Yeah. Okay, so it's
So
hopefully it's on that Helldivers side
the
of
Division.
things.
Yeah.
It just, I think it looks cool. It was just a new sort of bend on stuff we've seen before. Like you say, the Division, it's taken that virus element out of it, so it's not human versus human. It's human versus horde of machines. And just
set
something
it
cool.
in a nuclear winter.
Yeah, go check it out. It really is Mad Max. It's got that orange, dusty filter color to it as well. So go check out Forever Winter trailer. I think it looks good.
I did mean to put this in the chat the other day when Pete was talking about how he's like, "Oh, give me a Terminator co-op game," and I'm all there for it. There is meant to be one announced in the next week from Nacon, Nacon Studio Milan. February 29th, they're going to showcase 30 minutes of new footage for various projects, including their Terminator game set between Judgment Day and John Connor's Resistant Movement.
Okay. Sick.
So yeah, your wish has been granted.
It's nice.
Very exciting. Harold Halibut.
What is Harold Halibut?
Why are we talking about it? What makes it cool?
Well, if you guys had done any fucking research for the news section,
we're not doing trailers anymore, and we have 15 trailers to talk about.
You can still fucking watch them. What are you doing? You're sitting at home, sitting on your hand, like fucking hell. No, Harold Halibut looks really cool because the animation looks stop motion claymation.
I have
but
seen
it's
this.
Not. Thank you. Someone did the homework. It just looks cool. I think it's a really cool way to spin animation. What they did was they didn't do stop motion claymation kind of footage for the game. What they did is they 3D scanned the claymation characters they created and then animated those, but in the style of stop motion.
Yeah.
So I think it's super clever way they've
like
done
6
it.
frames a second or something.
Yeah. And it's a real story driven game. It's, I think, a bit of a detective story. It's looks very indie. Which is but it's innovative, it's exciting, it's like that's the kind of stuff we want to see coming forward from game studios. So that's why I threw it in there. But yeah, have a look at the trailer. Look, it might tickle your fancy, it might not, but it's why I threw it in there because it stood out. It stood out of all the shit that came out of. And this is the other thing I want to say. So I found this the stuff we just talked about, Death Stranding, Judas, and Rise of Ronin. That all came from the PlayStation February State of Play. If you guys want to go find it online and look at those trailers. The stuff we're talking about now came from IGN Fanfest has been happening over this current weekend, and that was one of the games that featured in that. And the second one that came after that.
Well, just before you get onto that one, that claymation style, the one I've got down below, Little Devil Inside, kind of falls into model.
Yeah, I know that one. Yeah.
Animated side of it as well. They look like there's seems to be sort of 2 levels of gameplay in Little Devil Inside. We just got a 6-minute gameplay trailer. There's an overworld map that looks like a camera has been put down on a claymation like mini map kind of thing, and you travel across the mini map and you pick your next destination to go to. It's really cool. Like it literally looks like a miniature
that
map.
featured in a State of Play like months ago. It was like a first announcement thing, and we got very limited look at it. So I'm glad there's more now. Yeah.
Sounds very Tiny Tina's, because Tiny Tina in Wonderland, the Overland map was like a little animated bobblehead of her walking around on a map.
Yeah,
So
kind of like
same,
that.
but different.
Same, but different. This very much looks like I guess it looks like if you like had a model train set. Like if any of our grandfathers had model train sets, or
slightly topographical as you look from the top down.
All the trees kind of look the same because they're all the same model laid out, and the grass is a standard grass that's not quite to scale and things like that to the trees that are laid on top of it. Looks really cool. And then you get down in third person when you get to these little hub sections, whether it's missions or towns or to talk to people. There looks like there could be some extra little. You kind of seem like a monster hunter in a kind of post-apocalyptic European kind of setting kind of thing. You're in a car, but it kind of feels a little bit Victorian as well, with the dress and style. There is sword and shield combat in it against monster type of things. There's boss battles, mini boss battles. At one stage, you dress yourself in a sheep's hood and do the whole sheepdog and wolf thing from Looney Tunes and go out, and there's a monster hunting the sheep, and you're in the herd, and he shoots the monster from within the sheep herd. I think it looks really cool, and once again, it's that claymation model kind of feel to the animation on it, and once again, super unique, and I think it looks cool.
Yeah, sick.
The next game is dumb as fuck. I'm going to put that out there.
It looks like a fucking mobile game.
So the idea is somehow through science and or technology, you are driving a pickup ute and you end up in a medieval battlefield and you have a truck full of guns. So now it's you.
There's more to it than that because there's Apache helicopters flying over the field killing people with rockets.
Yeah. So the whole thing is like there's some way that you can travel back in time and you fight medieval knights, but you have modern weaponry. And it's dumb, it's stupid, and I just think come on, it's a bit of fun. Don't be like that.
It looks like those.
If we have 4-player co-op on that, we jump into it.
It looks like those mobile games you see all the time where it's like, how many knights would it take to defeat this group of soldiers?
Oh, those AI things,
or Nazis versus zombies and shit like that. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, I think it's stupid and funny. It's called Kingmakers, and just go watch the trailer. I think
it's walking a fine line between funny and stupid, and it like the success. I think it's going to come down to which side it falls on.
I think it's one of those ones that it's going to have a very short-lived life.
Yeah,
people will jump into it at the start. Yeah, everyone will go in and be like, "Oh yeah, I shotgunned a guy in full medieval armor. Cool." I'm done.
Yeah.
But I think that's dumb enough that you can go like, okay, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yes, that was also that was the last little game I thought of. Borderlands. Before Dan gets back, quick.
Here he is.
Shit. He's here.
It looks really fucking good.
No.
I think I'm caught in the middle in terms of I think the character models are fantastic, except for Kevin Hart as Roland. I really don't like that.
I hate Kevin Hart.
He's too small.
Yeah, he's too small.
Dan versus Kevin Hart as opposed to Dan versus The Rock. Here we go.
It can be the different.
Very funny because they're
be the different scale now. I can be the big one, and he can be the little one. Just be pointing down on him. I think Kevin Hart is the same across the board. I don't find him funny. I found him funny in his early years. I don't find him funny now because I've seen the character 20 times.
And
that's
agree.
Exactly what came across in the trailer.
Oh yeah, he's found his groove in that. I thought,
but I'm looking forward to it.
Like, I'll definitely go see it.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, you're not invited. Fuck you.
No, that's fine. I thought it looked. I like the idea of, and I mean it's probably changed through the movie. I'd hope it would change through the movie. Everything looked too clean. All their costumes looked too clean for being a Borderlands. And I mean, you get into Borderlands and it's like the art style is cel-shaded and there's clear dirt and
dust everywhere,
blood blotches and shit on characters. It looked all too clean. It looks like people that are going to Comic-Con as the characters from the game in their clean state before any bloody battles happened.
Well, let's just wait and see what it's like.
The comedy all missed for me. I didn't find it was funny at all. I thought it was more than
Oh,
annoying.
it's definitely aimed at a younger age group than us.
And is that Tiny Tina with the ears, or is that somebody else?
Yeah, it's Tiny Tina.
It is Tiny Tina. I thought the make it rain with your body parts joke was not in any way delivered well in that trailer and was not funny whatsoever. I thought it was...
I thought she looked great as Tiny Tina.
I thought the character...
Humbug.
She was probably the character I liked the most, and the maniac dude that you barely got to see in the trailer.
Yeah.
But other than that, I thought everything else was fucking lackluster and shit. It looks like a B grade version for the people that are in it and the money that I think they've probably dropped on it. I think it looks like a B grade piece of shit, and I think a B grade movie probably would have been better than what the turd that they're gonna pump out in this side.
Right, moving on.
I mean, I thought Cate Blanchett looked great as the Siren. So yeah, my main problem was literally Kevin Hart's too small to be Roland.
Yeah.
And why not get Claptrap, the voice of Claptrap, back? Like why?
They did. Well, oh no, they
it's
didn't.
Jack
Sorry,
Black. It's Jack Black being Jack Black. Like, just get Claptrap back from the game. Like, why not? He's the one voice that you can transfer and tie the people that love the games to the movie. It's the one that you can bring, and it doesn't change anything. But they didn't.
And that makes Dan sad.
Taking a deep breath. The next one looked better. I hope you thought it looked better, Dan.
Battlefront 1 and 2, the original Battlefront 1 and 2, like the originals we played on PS2 and back in the day, they are getting a remaster, not a remake, not a rehashing, whatever. They're just literally porting it towards modern consoles. So yes, we get the great 501st story that was narrated by Mr. Morrison. That was the best part of Battlefront 2, when you were just like the really sad narration he did before you had to do the attack on the Jedi Temple as the 501st. The only thing for me is, look, I've recently gone back to playing Battlefront 1, the 2015 version, which was made by DICE and EA. So to see them just literally doing it's Aspire again, just doing the straight port, it's like, man, we've got these
assets,
like perfect assets. Come on, like, just give, like, if you really, because that's the thing, they lost the Coda like deal account, whatever you want to call it. This is your way as a studio to really prove that you're committed to bringing these classic Star Wars games to modern consoles. Have a deal with DICE and EA, whatever you have to do to like split the profits or whatever. And just bring in the newer character models and the map models, and just if I had the current Battlefront playing as the old school Battlefront, carry the one, double the two, it'd blow my fucking mind. Charge me $120, I will drop that instantly. Like, those games were my childhood, and I fucking loved them. But yeah, I would just love to see, like, I've really enjoyed the Aspire ports. I've talked about Republic Commando, Star Wars Episode 1, going back and playing Knights, Jedi Knight 2. They're great, but it's like the nostalgia does run off after a while, because you're like, I know you can make these look better if you just put in a little bit of effort. So that's my only thing. I'm excited for them. I will play them, but I just wish they would take the modern assets we have and we know that exist in games. And I know they probably have to license them off, I imagine, with LucasArts being connected to EA through that deal that's happened for the last 10 years. I'm sure they had to go through that anyway. So just use their bloody assets. God damn it.
Make the camera shake.
Sorry. Passion of the Christ. Star Wars.
Last one, Dan.
Vampire Masquerade Bloodlines 2. That's a mouthful of a title. Always has been a mouthful of title. World of Darkness goes off the last... Well, actually, there's several games in the series now, the Vampire Masquerade. There's a few sort of story-driven games that aren't third-person or first-person. They just released a dev talk and a gameplay trailer, like 30-minute gameplay trailer. I really enjoyed it. Like, I loved Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. I loved Vampire the Masquerade, the first one. I forget what it was called, Redemption or something like that. I loved it. I think it was one of my favorite all-time games. It's got a whole bunch of jank to it. It had some massive glitch issues that you couldn't finish the game if you glitched at a certain point, almost at the final mission. But it was a character-driven game within the World of Darkness, which is a tabletop rule set for Vampire the Masquerade. The new game is first person only. The old one was first person, but then third person when you had a melee weapon. This one, I think, is just full first person. They have set your character in this one, kind of like Cyberpunk, that you play as V. This one you play as Fire. Now, Fire is she's an elder. She's been asleep since ancient times. She's an ancient Egyptian, and she's been asleep since somewhere around there for a couple of thousand of years. Something happens that wakes her up. She's got a secondary vampire voice in her head for some reason that they don't explain during the gameplay. So you have these two player voices. You have the person Fire that you're playing with and the sub voice in your head, kind of like Cyberpunk and Johnny Silverhand. So they're really playing on that Cyberpunk 2077 vibe. I really liked it. I thought it really brought the series into the modern age. A lot of people have ragged on it that it doesn't feel like Bloodlines, but Bloodlines was full of jank. It was basically a broken game for all of its life. And I feel that this actually brings it forward and to what we would expect these days. Combat looks cool. They only show one of the vampire clans during the gameplay. They show a little bit of dialogue and one key mission in a warehouse, which you go through a bit of a loop because she gets stuck in kind of a psychological thing that is brought on by another vampire. So you go through a bit of puzzling, a bit of combat, a bit of dialogue. I thought it looks really good. It surprised me where it's at from about 2 years of not hearing anything. And the main person that was in develop and writing left or got fired. I'm not sure. It really surprised me that it's at this point of polish, and I'm so glad it's coming out. And it's going to be interesting to see how it plays from here on out and how much of the fan base is going to turn around and come back to it. I'm a big Vampire the Masquerade fan. I love it.
Yeah, you've always talked about it positively. Yeah.
Yeah. Kindred, the TV series that was made by, of all people, Aaron Spelling back in the day in the 90s, is still one of my favorite vampire media things of all time, and as well as Bloodlines 1. It was great. So I'm really looking forward to it. Gameplay and the dev talk. The dev talk is really boring because the dude is definitely not a forward-facing company man, a public
he's
facing,
a back office dude.
Oh, he is definitely one of the guys that he's the brains, not the face of the game. He shouldn't be the face of the game because he was super boring, and that was probably my biggest complaint about the whole thing. Maybe he didn't sell it enough when he was talking about it in the
somebody wheel the smart guy out. Wheel him away. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly
I've been working with that exact type of person my entire career.
Yeah, definitely. I think it looks good. I think the character, the main character that you play, I'm a bit disappointed, like a few other people, that you're not creating your own character. But with what CDPR did with V and the voiced V in Cyberpunk, I'm really hoping these guys pull off Fire the same as V, because V in the end was great, and I was.
They can structure a story around a known character that way, I guess.
Yeah, and Cyberpunk did it really well, where V existed in the world. I play a female V, so I'm going to talk about her as a she. She understands the world that she exists in. And with Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, Fire is coming from a couple of thousand years of sleep, so she's not going to understand the world she's in. But I think that's not a bad mechanic for drawing in new players to the world, where she's going to be learning things about probably reawakening her powers from when she's been, for while she's been asleep, but also reintroducing herself to the massive political side of Vampire the Masquerade, which is absolutely, it's a political game. They have hierarchies within the clans. There's multiple clans, and they all have their own traits and everything. I think it looks great. I'm super excited for it. So I hope it's I hope it turns out to be as good as what Cyberpunk is now.
Yeah, cool.
Excellent.
I think we're going to get a break from there. So I guess we'll be right back.
Hey, hey.
You didn't even get my little flatback joke on record. That's no fun.
No, I didn't.
No, thank God for that, because it's flat. Arrive flat. Like your pack.
And we're back.
I said I was going to follow up with the same beer that Tom had, so I'm following up with the same Seeker
Copycat. What a dog.
Collaborathon beer with Stoic Brewing, the Pine Line Ice Cream Sour, and I completely agree. It tastes like a splice. It's got the more limey, citrusy tartness than I think the two sours I just had.
Wow.
It really captures that. I don't know what they use to get that, whether it's just straight lime juice or whether they found some flavoring or something, but it really does capture that vanilla, that biting through that icy outer shell of a splice and getting that tartness first and then that falling away to release the creamy vanilla ice cream beneath. It's really well constructed. I really like it. It's definitely a one can thing for me, but it's I'm happy it's a 440 can and not a 375. So I do get a little bit more of that goodness. But
did you grab any more of them?
I've got one more in the fridge, yeah, and I've got another I think 15 or 16 at the brewery.
Yeah, so I was lucky enough. I was just at the Union before we recorded, so I had lunch there. And they did an NZ Pilsner with filter, which was super crisp, like way crisper than that Mountain Culture I just had. And then I also had their hazy pale they did with Bodri. And then I grabbed I think 5 of the other beers. They had 6 in the bottle shop, but they
you mean
had
the other ones, yeah.
Yeah, other collabs other than that one. So they had another one. The one I didn't grab because fuck that style was some wheat ale bullshit.
Belgian wit that they did with Rude.
No, I'm
Goldberg.
sure it's a delicious beer. I'm really sorry. I shouldn't.
It is.
I'm sure it's actually a really, really, really well made beer. It's just that style just makes me.
Maybe I'll do that next time. But yeah,
okay,
cool. I do have some of them too, and I did like it.
What'd you give it out of 5?
I'm going to agree with Tom at 4.25. It's
nice.
Really well. It's the only reason it gets marked down for me is it's not an ongoing beer. It's a
okay.
I grabbed that one.
Yeah.
I'm happy I drank it, but I'm not rushing back for another one because palate wise.
I thought.
And what have you got?
I also thought you said mountain codger, and I just pictured an old 3-toothed man with a flannel in the mountains, yelling,
"Take his teeth out."
Yeah, that's it.
Give me my Pilsner.
I'm drinking Ekim Brewing Co.'s Longboat Lager. Ekim? Okay. I sit corrected. We've tried a few of their beers.
It's Mike backwards.
It is Mike backwards. You are 100% correct.
I'm pretty sure it's the brewer's name is Mike. So, yeah.
It's interesting for a lager. Like you certainly get that lager yeast, but the esters. It's quite light in the back palate. It's you've got a little bit of those esters. There's just something in it that's just a little unusual. It's almost bready. It's certainly dry.
As a longboat lager, does it use Vike yeast like the Norwegian one?
Doesn't say on.
I don't know, if I'm going to draw a long bow, that's where I would draw
it. An Australian style lager using the finest Australian malt features light hop flavors with a crisp, easy drinking finish. So there's zero details here. There's zero details online. It was canned in December So it's probably it's fine. It's only a couple of months old.
It'll be
Yeah,
fine.
it's not
Yeah.
it's not bad. Like, I'm not saying it's bad. It's just it's unusual, which to me actually gives it extra points because the lager's usually for us it's a pretty boring style. I want to say.
Refreshing style.
They're definitely getting more interesting.
Yes.
But I like that Brettness. I don't know if Brett's the right word. I'd really like for you guys to try it, to tell me what your thoughts are. And I have a 4-pack, so I could save you guys one. I'm going to give it a 4.25. That's higher than I would give a normal, just a base boring lager. I'm digging the esters too. So yeah, Tom, I feel jealous. You guys have got some decent ABVs.
Yeah. I'm finished fun employment today, so fuck it. Let's get lit, boys. I'm having.
And I'm working from
look,
home tomorrow. So.
Oh well, it's nice for some, isn't it? Look, there's some sad news that came out of the beer world recently. Bracket have been told that they are basically being forced to move out of their current hold, their little cave
With a
in the side
70% increase in rent.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked.
That's
So
mental.
I have 2 Bracket beers, but they're one's a East Side IPA and one's a West Side IPA. So it's yeah. Look, so this is their double dry hopped. I don't know, bro. That looks like Wolverine. Let's go. Snicky, snoy. This is the East Side IPA. It's made with Raquel and Nelson Savan. The designs are pretty similar. I'm going to show it now just because it pisses me off. But
there's a foot difference in the back?
No, look, nothing. It's all just wiped off.
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, like, if you compare the two, like, similar designs, but there is nothing left written on that can. It's
Could
all
they get themselves in trouble because all the labeling's gone?
If definitely
no, so all the like
legal
important
legal
labeling is still there. It's just the name, and you can kind of see it says Uvin on the front anymore. Kind of still says Bracket, not really.
The digital printing
that has literally just been sitting in the fridge. It's come out of the bag into the fridge, and that's what's happened.
The digital printing's making a big difference in the industry, but it's still got
a ways to go.
A ways to go. Yeah. I mean, and
Yeah.
a machine
Bonding
to do it.
I can tell you from personal experience, bonding acrylic to a flat metal surface is fucking hard. Because anyone who's ever painted miniatures in the old pewter days.
So little time, so many jokes.
I was thinking the same thing. I left it alone completely. I was a bit wild last episode, so I thought, I'll braid it in this time.
Moving right along from bonding your acrylics to your solid metal service, this is what it pours like. It is. It's a classic East Coast hazy IPA. It's got that New Zealand flavour coming through.
Fuck. You got to stop banging that
delicious.
table, Tom. You're killing me.
No, it's my banging table. That's why I installed it.
It's getting worse.
It is very, very tasty. I'm going to give that a 4.2. It's very, very nice. Look. It's just true to Bracket style. It's a little rich for my taste going forward. So I'm really hoping the West Side version of it is like super hoppy bitter, but I will find out shortly. And for anyone playing at home, 7.3%. Delicious.
Nice.
True Detective. I'm so glad you guys punched it out.
Yeah.
You didn't like it, Pete.
I beat you, didn't I?
No. Oh.
You did beat me, Tom.
No, but Dan. I think Dan started before me, and then I ended up beating him to the finale.
Yeah, I got really delayed on the finale. I had a few things on, and some super fucking hot days in the brewery. I just didn't have it in me to sit there.
Have the energy.
And
so Emma and I did the classic
finale.
thing of it was 6 episodes released weekly, and we watched 2 in the last week, being like, cool, now we can spread it out in the last week. We don't have to wait too long. So we watched 2 on the Monday, and then the Wednesday night I was obviously unemployed. So I was like, okay, cool. Dinner's made. Let's sit down and we'll watch an episode or 2, and then we can save 2 for like Friday night, and then we're good. 4 hours later, I just shit. Smashed through it. It was great. It was just, it's so addictive. Yeah. It's right back in where the first season was. It's so good.
Yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed the introduction of Inuit culture because I realized how little we have ever seen on screen of their actual culture. The singing, the tattooing, the value system that they have, that community spirit. I just thought it was spectacular to actually get to see that and have like a window into it. I presume it's based on fact, because why the fuck would you make it up when you could just go there and base it on fact, right?
No. It is definitely based on fact. I thought the really cool thing was, so Ennis, the town it's set in, is fictional. I don't know if you guys looked that up. But Ennis, the town, is fictional, but it is based on the northernmost city in the US, which is the real top of Alaska. And literally then you look at the sea and then it's just the Arctic Circle, which is Utqiagvik is the town. It used to be called Barrow, but they went back to the traditional name for it. So that's the town it's set in. I want to go. I want to go to the 30 Days of Night. Like, really want to go. Like, let's pull all our resources and do that as a Pieces and Pints excursion. Let's go to the 30 Days of Night. See who survives.
Minus 40 degrees.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah, but it's also a culture built around dealing with that, though.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely,
like,
yes.
You go to England and all the glass is double glazed because they're set up for the cold. In Australia, we've got fucking fly screens on our windows.
Yeah.
So it's about
sometimes we don't even have that. So
just a cat swatting flies as they try and enter. I loved the fantasy undertones, or fantasy is not the right word.
Supernatural,
like
supernatural side.
Supernatural, the spiritual undertones.
So just Tom, you just said Barrow, and that sparked a thing in my head. Barrow is the same city that's in 30 Days of Night. The same town.
Which makes perfect sense.
It makes perfect sense. I didn't,
Yep.
And
it
me
is
referencing last time 30 Days of Night, it's just because of what it reminded me of, which is obviously...
And it's a throwback to what you said as well. So Barrow is also mentioned by Matthew McConaughey in season 1. He says, my dad is going up to Barrow to live, which is the town it's meant to be based on.
Yep.
So it is meant to be there's a full, obviously, throwback to season 1.
And spoilers here going forward, I think, for season 4 of True Detective.
Yes.
His father is the dead spirit guy that points the lady to the
to Harry Potter's aunt. Yeah. Becomes a badass fucking hunter.
Or the Andor's mother to the Salal scientist, the dead scientist. He's the spirit that takes her out there. So that's the tie back.
I did turn to Emma at one point after the Christmas episode where she's just like, yeah, look, I used to work at university and then I just got really bored of writing papers. I was like, Emma, that's our future. We're going to go up to the fucking arse end of the Arctic and you're going to become a badass hunter bitch and just like slice a wolf open in the first episode. Like, absolutely go nuts.
Apparently, there's between 64 and 67 days of uninterrupted night in the real town, followed by 80 days of uninterrupted daylight.
Boo! Boo! No. More night. More darkness.
Whereas if you go to Antarctica, you get 6 months of uninterrupted darkness. That's crazy. 180 days of night.
Yeah.
Look, the series was brilliantly written and acted. Like, the actors fucking nailed it.
Yeah.
I didn't see a weak point in it. And the actual story to me was, I love the fact that there were supernatural undertones that weren't resolved into scientific fact at the end. Like, they left it open-ended and unexplained. These people had visions, whether or not those visions were real or they occurred in their head. I think it actually leaned into them being real.
They were just all like, you always see the dead up here. Why the fuck do you always see the dead up there, bro? Like, come on, talk more about that.
But I feel like they lent into it being real because, there's one thing to hallucinate and then for other people to kind of ignore it or for it to be consistent within the narrative. But the fucking recurring motifs of like the orange, 5 people saw that. Well, 3 people saw that fucking orange.
Yeah.
That's not personal psychosis. That's something else.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. And then the
polar bear.
Yeah, the one-eyed polar bear.
Yeah.
I really thought the CG animals as well were some of the best CG I've seen in a while. Yeah. They were really good.
Completely agree.
Well done, yeah.
And really clever just on that scape and the special effect point of view, the whole filming it within the 30 Days of Night gave them so much leeway to have smaller outdoor sets. You just have a building and then some street lights, and a blurred building and nothing behind it. It made it feel closed in and isolated as it probably would be. It gave you that feeling. Is you saw a lot of people in the town, and especially like even within the T-bone accident that Jodie Foster ends up in the first or second episode, like you see some people that are in a building, you see some people that are in a pub, so you know there's other people other than the main characters. There's people in the police station and
the school scene where you're not sure what time. But that's the whole thing. Like the beauty of that, like 30 Days of Night is like there were a couple of times where I remember I was like, wait, what time of the day is it?
Yeah,
in the actual setting of the thing. Because it is 30 Days of Night, but there's kids
kind of
in
becomes
school.
Arbitrary.
Yeah. And I thought that was such a fascinating way to tell that story. Yeah, just the absence of light. Yeah,
I did like the scale of the polar bear too. I don't think a lot of people appreciate the scale of a polar bear being 9 to 12 foot tall. Like that thing is a like fucking monster.
Yeah, like grizzlies. Like they're always shown to be a little bit small. Or wolves. Wolves are a huge animal.
Yeah. But a polar bear's the size of a car. Like it's
because in nature documentaries you never have scale. It's just a polar bear against a white background.
Yeah, chasing a seal.
And I think, and then I look at that and I go, I could probably fight it if I needed to.
It's that old saying, and I was watching a lot of trail videos, American trail videos, when I was looking at like wild camping and that sort of stuff. And I found a saying: if it's brown, and I looked up, if it's brown, lay down; if it's black, fight back; if it's white, good night. It's basically, if a polar bear comes for you, there ain't nothing you're doing to stop it, because you can't outrun it, you can't outfight it, and if you play possum, it'll eat you anyway. Yeah. So anyway,
but
I mean, beautiful cast as well. I think the casting was brilliant for that.
Cast was great.
Jodie Foster's obviously fantastic.
She's brilliant. I haven't seen her in anything for years.
Callie
she's
Reese,
such a grumpy bitch all the way through. It was fucking great.
Such a good bitch. Like,
is there anyone in this town you haven't fucked?
That was also the kind of boss that you'd want in that kind of environment. You want that like ruthless fucking bitch. Like. It was so great. It was so perfect. Callie Reese, I don't know if you know this. She was a champion boxer.
That's why
who played Navarro. Yeah. So she was from. So Emma and I had a little cheer because she's from Providence, Rhode Island, where Emma grew up. But yeah, she's a world champion boxer,
and she looks
like.
And it was hard for me to gauge how tall and solid she was, because I know Jodie Foster's really little. So it's like she would have.
Well, you got a scale of that when the doctor rammed her on the desk. So there was that. Seeing Christopher Eccleston's butt out was a new thing for me, and I don't think I'll ever financially recover from
that. Financially recover? Did you buy shares in his butt?
Oh, I have. Yes. It's tight. Yes. Yeah, it was a real weird surprise seeing Christopher Eccleston in that series. That really it threw me for a second. I was like, it's the Doctor. Oh no, the Doctor.
That's not the Doctor.
Oh, dear.
Oh, well, that's why you were saying, oh God. Sorry, I'm catching up now.
Oh, okay. There it is. Yeah.
Yep. I didn't put two and two together. I didn't actually know that was Christopher Eccleston.
He's aged quite a lot since we saw him in 2005, mind you.
Yeah.
Has been 20 years.
Haven't we all?
Definitely. But I think the overall play out of the story, I was really happy with the payout at the end with how it ended. I was happy that, like you said, there was no conclusion to the supernatural stuff. It was all just left ambiguous, like it was these things happen, but there was an actual real world explanation for the Salal scientist death, and those things played out. But there was still bits and pieces in there, and about the tongue, the tongue of the murdered girl. Like Navarro asks about that and gets a really blank answer of, we know nothing about that. And I'm like, I couldn't actually read the lady
if
that
they were
said
lying
it.
or
Yeah. It was because
within
earlier
the context of
when she's having the discussion about it, she sort of has the same face about something true, and it's like did she really not know about that, or did wait, if she did know about it and they did leave it there, how did she get it in the first place? So I'm sure there's probably something earlier on that we missed, and
quite possibly
they might play. It might come out later on as the information on the series rolls on. But I love it.
But it is a series that you could rewatch.
Yeah.
There's enough density of content there.
You want to rewatch it to figure out where you miss things.
Yeah.
Where you miss things going along. Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
I think there's... No, you go, Pete. Sorry.
No, go.
I was just going to say that on the supernatural side of things, I'm kind of getting a bit fed up with True Detective not going supernatural. It's such a tease to get to that. I want them to go full supernatural. Like, I would have loved, just, I don't know, even something like an ice-based animal that had been trapped in those caves because of... Well, even if you could have explained it scientifically, whether it was prehistoric or it was just something that had just, a polar bear that had just inhaled too many weird gases that they'd unearthed trying to get that enzyme or whatever they were trying to get out of the skeletons and stuff, that had sent it crazy and it had killed everyone and it had become mutated and shit.
The skeleton of that
was a fossil.
The fossil of the creature that was in the spiral. I mean, that's what I took from that there was something there within that creature. I lent into full Lovecraftian on the side of this, that it was some sort of elder god frozen in the ice, because it was speaking to people.
I just went there. No, they were too isolated and they made it their own god kind of thing, which is what happens, in those kind of situations.
Yeah.
But then does then you talk about the Tuttle Institute that was
connection
the
to season
sponsor,
1,
connection to season 1 that was sponsoring Salal and everything like that, and the spiral motif. Like, why would that make it down to Mississippi to these little weird backwater hick cult in the back in season
in the bayou
1, and God, what's his name? Rust. Seeing I know he talks about I know he talks about the acid flashbacks that he has, and he can't tell between reality and things like that. But seeing the void in the end of the finale of season 1, when he's in the little temple, the bone temple, and he turns around and he sees the open void. Like, I mean, it's probably me reading too much into it and loving Lovecraftian stuff, but I mean, that's where I see it. It's just this elder god frozen in ice, making them all go crazy.
I'm not going to talk about it for a couple of these episodes, but going straight from that to Constellation requires zero adjustment. So Constellation was the new science fiction...
It's out,
psychological thriller, yep. So the first 3 or 4 eps are out, and it's got snow and blizzards in the first ep, Apple TV. Apple Plus, whatever it's called. And very similar psychological and also kind of Lovecraftian undertones. I mean, I'm only 1 ep in, so it could take a different
that's
direction.
the thing. I don't know. I just, like, when they saw the fossil, I just would have liked it to have been a bit more maybe squid-like. So I could have been like, oh, maybe it is Lovecraftian. It was just too much of like a tease. Like, I wanted more of that supernatural side to come in, and I know that's probably for my own thing rather than what the story creator wants to divulge. Yeah. Oh, okay. Bye-bye. Brilliant, though. Brilliantly acted all the way through. And this is full spoiler if you want to skip ahead. This is full spoiler for the last episode. So that you're giving a very, very, very big warning when the kid has... 30 seconds.
Do we want to spoil?
No, that's what I'm giving everyone, like, you skip ahead a minute and now.
Okay.
Here. Yeah. But when Pryor has to shoot his dad, that was fucking harrowing. That was harrowing as shit. And it was
they made it seem very real.
So brilliantly acted by that guy who's been in basically nothing. Like, more credit to him. But that was fucked. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Holy shit, that hit me. Yeah. Like, I saw
and then
it
to
coming.
make him clean it up afterwards. I mean,
God.
like, You have to
Jesus.
sit with it now.
And then he had to turn to his fucking fiance and be like, "I've got a thing to do. Never mind."
Yeah.
And then badass Aunt Petunia just being like, "This is how we dispose of it." Yeah.
I thought it was quite topical too. Talking about using global warming and environmental destruction as a smokescreen to destroy the environment even more, and to fund research stations to
the way the guy
masquerade
talks
your
about, like, you know, the
environmental
research
destruction.
we were doing, it's worth the damage. It's like, is it actually worth? Like, can you prove it's worth the damage? Like, that was a really, really potent thing, I think. Yeah,
another recurring theme in Constellation, actually. The greater good. That's all I had to say on True Detective, other than I think I wish they had made season 4 as season 2 and continued on that quite supernatural but grounded in reality style. Not to say that season 2 wasn't already great, but
I didn't like season 2, but I get why they did it, to kind of bring in more, like, I think season 2 was more of a grab thing from being like, oh, you don't have to be all into Matthew McConaughey's weird shit. Like, you know.
Yeah,
I don't know. We don't know why they did it, but we'll keep going. Yeah. What's next?
You wanted to talk about 3,000 Years of Longing. I watched it when it first came out.
So
I'm a bit rusty.
I am very late to the party of this. I finally sat down and watched it. And I've been trying to watch it for ages, but I wanted to watch it with him. And I don't think we talked about it on the podcast, so that's why I said
no, we haven't.
Let's do it. So obviously it's George Miller's the director. Idris Elba and Tilda Swinton are the main actors, and it's kind of a George Miller fucked up tale of Aladdin. Let's just say what it is. It's George Miller talking about genies and jinns, and But I think the thing that worked for me is, obviously we've recently talked about how we're a bit worried by the trailer of Furiosa and if George Miller's influence carry through. And that film for me was just like, oh wait, George Miller's still doing his weird shit. I think we'll be okay. That's what I took away from it.
I didn't enjoy the film as much as I'd hoped. I found it. My opinion was that it was disappointing. It didn't have the payoff at the end that I was hoping for. It wasn't funny enough to be a fun movie, and it wasn't serious enough to be a serious movie. I have to admit, I didn't really enjoy it as much as I'd hoped.
Oh, that's very interesting. I thought it was such a good, such an interesting take on the whole 3 wishes thing. In terms of every time that she went to make a wish, Idris Elba's djinn comes in and goes, whoa, hey, let me tell you a story about a wish. He went back through his history and stuff.
I enjoyed the stories. To me, it was almost City of Angels in areas of the interactions between the characters. To me, there just wasn't the payoff I was hoping for. I was really hoping for a new retelling of the old story, but steeped in fantasy and tradition. And it was more Scorpion King than it was the original fucking movie that I can't think of the name of right now. Mummy, thank you.
The 2004 cinema classic, The Mummy, starring Brendan Fraser. Don't get me started. No.
And I thought the pacing was a bit off too.
Yeah, but I thought the offbeat pacing was very typical George Miller, which is what gave me hope for Furiosa. I took this as a bridging film. I took this as his, let's make some money, get in some arty fucking shows, arty cinema things. And so I get some, either some awards, or some people go, hey, George Miller's still got it. He's got those, because there were those flashes of color that he's I think is a very typical George Miller. After seeing especially Fury Road, the big splash of red, and then that's a slow fade out of that red as the characters come through. And then, look, I'm going to be completely honest. The Australian side of it really sold me again. Seeing the old ladies from the motorbike gang be the 2 old bitches next door really sold me. The final scene when they're walking through the park, that's Sydney Park where I walk Jasper all the time. So that's in Alexandria. So that was fucking cool for me. I've walked that hill so many times it's not funny. So I was like, holy shit, that's Sydney Park. And we did the same thing. And then Megan Gale, you've sold me. Say no more. Megan Gale was in it as a princess, and I give it 5 stars.
I was going to say I don't even remember Megan Gale being in it.
Well,
I remember the
that sucks
princess
for you.
story, but I don't remember that it was her in it. But yeah, I saw it so long ago. I saw it when it came out because it didn't get to cinemas because it was during COVID, I want to say.
It was definitely shot during COVID because there were so many scenes where they were just in public and they were wearing masks.
Oh, okay.
So they're like the side characters, like all the background characters are all wearing face masks and stuff. So I was like, cool. And there's a couple of things of like Tilda Swinton go in the shops and she takes her mask off after she leaves the shop kind of thing. Like it was,
yeah. I mean, it was pop.
I thought it was and I think I'm in the same view as Pete. I enjoyed it, but I thought there might be more coming from George Miller. I thought there might have been a real. I mean, Mad Max is one big Fury Road is one big chase scene. I mean, it's adrenaline from start to finish kind of thing. I was kind of going in with that kind of George Miller glasses on, and that's not what I received. But that doesn't mean I think it was a bad movie, and I probably should watch it again. Tilda Swinton and Idris Elba were great, and I like small stories that are big stories kind of thing. So,
yeah, I just think to me it reminded me of the Sandman, the Netflix series Sandman, based on the DC Comics, without the cool factor that the Sandman had with their small stories, where he does talk about the old, he has flashbacks. He talks about his old stories, and to me that delivered where 3,000 Years of Longing didn't.
Yeah,
I guess I guy in the bar every 100 years was as a little story.
That's one of the best scenes in the Sandman. Absolutely, yeah. No, I 100% get you with that. I just think for me, especially seeing it recently after we were talking about the Furiosa trailer and how we were worried, we were concerned about how it was lacking George Miller. Seeing that film and the way it was directed in that George Miller style, especially like the color bursts and the color theme throughout certain scenes, I was just like, cool. Like I think the general consensus for us through the Furiosa trailer was that maybe he'd lost it to like a studio influence and stuff. And I looked at that and I went, I think we still have faith. I think he's still going to come through. And it gave me more hope for Furiosa more than anything, is what I took away from it. Which is why I'm glad I watched it after seeing that, to be like, oh, cool. But
it restored faith for you, but not for me.
I mean, and that's what Dan's saying. Like maybe a secondary viewing you might see those things more.
Yeah. I'd be prepared to watch it again.
Yeah.
We cool if we move on?
Yes, absolutely.
I watched the trailer for this last night on Amazon, Pete, and goddamn, did this pique my interest.
It's not what I expected. So I watched LX 2048. It's going to be a really quick review. It is a traditional science fiction movie. It is not a fast-paced modern Hollywood blockbuster science fiction movie. Mm-hmm. It's set in a dystopian future where the sun has warmed to the point, or our atmosphere is thin to the point where you can't go out in direct sunlight. We have invented cloning. However, clones don't quite have the same emotional or range of emotional responses as the real humans. But they have the advantage of being able to work during sunlight hours. So the rest of society is basically caged until nighttime. Most people hang out in virtual reality more than they do in real life. In fact, it is the primary source of employment, of entertainment, of friendship groups, and all that sort of stuff. And everyone is dosed on LX 2048, which is basically like a modernized version of lithium. It removes the peaks and troughs from your emotional spectrum, but turns people into happy, content robots almost. And so that's the background setting. It's a very slow-paced, contemplative movie. It takes a while to get into it. It's a slow burn. It's a really interesting commentary on society in terms of our always-on, always connected lifestyle projected 20 years in the future. And it tells the story of John Darcy's character, who is unhappy with the way the world is around him. He doesn't take his pills, which is very Brave New World. Avoid the soma. And he sees reality for what it is, and he's unhappy with his marriage. He's unhappy with the way the world works around him. And they have him and his wife have a life insurance policy that if either of them die early, they'll be cloned. But you can choose in your life insurance policy if you can tweak your significant other slightly when they come back as a clone. So it might be physical, it might be emotional, it might be psychological. And that's kind of the background. I won't ruin any more of the film, but it's if you don't mind a slow-paced movie that makes you think, it has a very Shakespearean dialogue at the end when its climax won't deliver for people that are looking for a proper climax. It's more like a Shakespearean play climax. I thought it was fucking brilliant, though.
It's a Roy Beatty Tears in the Rain kind of climax, is it?
Yeah, and I said this to Tom in the break. It very much does elicit Blade Runner like thoughts. It is kind of contemplative in that manner. It doesn't go down that whole clone, artificial intelligence route as strongly, but it is one of those thinkers.
So I watched we watched the trailer last night after we finished whatever we were watching, and I said to Louise, it looks like Blade Runner cross Equilibrium, which is exactly what you've just described.
Yeah.
And it's also what's it on, Pete?
I think it's Amazon Prime. It's a B grade, so it's a super low budget, almost what's the word I'm looking for? Almost indie film from a director who wrote, directed, edited, and produced it. And I think it's his third ever film.
Fuck yeah.
Busy fucking lad, yeah.
Yeah. No, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's not a perfect film, but it's fucking excellent in terms of making you think.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to watch it.
Oh, good.
Yep. And I mean, I'm going to lead into a bit of a downer too. The Exorcist Believer, Believer. It's the new in the long running Exorcist.
I believe in your colon, mate.
Well, that's how it's written. Exorcist,
I was about to make the same joke.
Believer. I was hoping from the trailers, going back to a couple of episodes before about misleading in how trailers are cut. So the trailer for Believer, there's two little girls that get possessed this time, not one, like it was in the original Exorcist and maybe the others after it. I've only ever watched the original. The two little girls in the trailer, they get possessed. The makeup makes them look like the original the
twins,
little girl that gets possessed. And
oh right,
now you're thinking of Shining, aren't you?
I was.
Yeah. Pea Soup Girls, yes. The mother from the original movie is back, and in the trailer, she approaches
again.
She approaches the two possessed girls, and they say, "Hello, mother." But
I remember the trailer.
Yeah, which really led that the mother from the original was going to play a big part in this one. Spoilers out here. She doesn't play a big fucking part. And that scene never happens. She comes across one of the possessed girls very, very minimally, and the hello mother is said by an entirely different character at the very final seconds of the movie, and they are not a possessed person. So the trailer was completely misleading.
So they've just got a fetish.
Yeah. Don't kink shame, Dan.
And the whole thing, that the two little girls, one family is very Catholic, one family is not of that religion, and all very atheist on side of it. There is other religions that are bought in to try and exorcise these two young girls, and in the end, it's the Catholics will save us all. Brought back in as
Oh, that's the greatest joke you've ever told.
But that's how it plays out, man. That's how it plays out. And we were very disappointed in that side of it because they
As you
really
would be.
they really led in bringing all these other people in that it might be a bit of everybody that saves. I say this in quotation marks, saves the day. But no, we had to bow down to the Catholic Church coming in and saving the day again. Which I guess goes back, but it to the original Exorcist, but is not.
Well, you can't have an exorcism without the Catholic Church.
Well,
It's a
you
Catholic
can.
rite.
Well, there's other religions that do exorcisms as well.
As it's presented in modern media, it's usually a Catholic rite.
Yeah. But
R-I-T-E, right?
From the very first, from the intro to
it could be the other spelling of right too. I don't know.
From the very intro of the movie, you get the feel that the other religions or other religions around the world are going to play a part because in the very intro of the movie, the pregnant mother of one of the children later on, they're in Haiti, and they undergo a religious blessing in Haiti, and that plays a part later on, but not a big part. Anyway, cut it all short. It could have been a good movie, and the trailer cut it to be kind of an interesting movie. In the end, it played out as a very. I've got mediocre written, and all I see is Immortan Joe saying mediocre in Mad Max now, and it was mediocre. From about halfway on, there was some really good, not good. There were some interesting elements to start with. It was a bit of a slow burn. It built up that thing like the original Exorcist, and then the back end was just mediocre. It was super modern Hollywood that just didn't deliver. Yeah.
I don't know, man. You gave me a good laugh, so that's fucking great. That was I really needed that. That was good. Yeah, that was cathartic.
Episode titled Tom's belly laugh.
Yeah.
And then my
that wasn't
last
even a belly
one,
laugh. That was a full chortle. That was a full on chortle.
My last review. I'm going to bring it up now, so I don't speak about it in Are You Winning, Son? Blacksmith, Song of Two Kings. I came across this in the Steam Next Fest demo month that they do, or several weeks. I was scrolling through all of the demos and the streams that they were doing on Steam. I was about to click out because I'd scrolled through about 30 games that had, or probably even more, that they had on Next Fest. And this one popped up as the very bottom icon. I'm like, Blacksmith. So I clicked on that, and I mean, it hooked me. I sat there and watched the stream. I actually commented on the stream.
It is so you, though.
Yeah.
It is. I think I would play it for a couple of hours and then put it down.
Nah, I wouldn't even touch it. It bored me to fucking tears. I don't know if it was the guy presenting it. It may have been the guy presenting it.
The video that you linked was not a great exemplar of the game.
I would watch. Dan. I would watch you play it if you were commentating.
Yeah.
That would actually really. Yeah. That would really hook me. And
there's an upload right there.
Yeah. But watching someone else I don't know play a game that I know that style of gameplay, and he was so passionate
dumb in that video.
Yeah.
Well, I would honestly.
watch, yeah.
I only picked that. I didn't watch him in that video, and I didn't actually listen to him because I wasn't meaning for you guys to listen or pay attention to.
I didn't watch that. It was a 90-minute video.
I wasted half an hour of my Sunday watching that fucking guy talking fucking shit, and also.
I know what this cleaver needs. It needs feathers. Oh shit! I've attached the feather to the fucking blade. Like Jesus, man.
Oh, okay. I apologize for linking that one, but
not the brightest crayon in the box.
But because it's an indie game and a very small indie game, there's only hour-long chunks of things of clips because it's people doing.
I skipped 15 minutes ahead at a time.
Yeah. It did seem early in the game's genesis, like the controls look clunky. It needs some quality of life refinement.
It's a single dev who
that was the comments too. Yeah,
that it is clunky. It is clunky. It's clunky, but if you can think about how do I put this? Okay, so it's a 2D game where you're looking at a forge, an old medieval forge background. It's got a fire burning in the background. In the slightly foreground, you have an anvil and you have a hammer. So you can control the two-dimensional material that you're using to manipulate, whether it's metal or wood or whatever.
Wood.
Yep. You have a tool, whether it's the hammer to hammer molten metal or heated metal, or cutting down branches or logs or anything like that to create handles and things like that. So it's all two-dimensional. So you can pull a steel ingot out of your inventory into the main panel. You drop it down onto the anvil, and you can hammer it and manipulate it like molten metal. The background programming of it to get the artificial molten metal to act almost like real molten metal or manipulative metal must be incredible. It's one guy, and he's been quite vocal on Discord about the mathematics that are used in the background for hammering out this block of metal to make it into shapes, that it's quite complex. I'm
not questioning that. I'm questioning, how do you make the blade stand upwards vertically on an anvil while also then dropping the mouse where you're holding it to grab the hammer, and then grab the hammer in the right spot and then whack it. Like, there's some quality of life enhancements that need to go into the game.
I think that's also the people playing it too. So I actually find the hammer really great. So if you left click on up towards the head of the hammer, you can move it in a parallel up and down, left and right. There's no tilt. You click it on the handle, it goes on a pivot, and then your right click and how far and how fast you move the mouse backwards and forwards is the strength of your strength of your strike.
He'd hammered down a piece of metal into a long, skinny blade, and then he needed to squash the blade because he'd made it too long and skinny. And so he tilted He tilted the axe head on the anvil, and every time he let go of it, it'd tip over and fall. And it almost fell off the anvil a couple of times into the ether. And so he had to hold it at the top, on top of the anvil, and then quickly let go of his mouse so he could grab the hammer, which was pre-positioned to whack it, to be able to compress. And it's just stuff like that. You need some pincers or another person or a left hand.
Well,
you need something.
The further along you get in the game, you actually get a vice attached to the anvil. So you can hold things within the vice. And the vice is more used for bending metal bars. So you get within... There's a whole story to the game. I want to try and blast through this pretty quick. There's an overworld hand-drawn map that you can get through. There's a fog of war over it, and it only releases as you do certain jobs, and you go through a storyline within the game. And it's a fantasy game. Yeah. There's dwarves, there's goblins, there's witches.
Yeah, the dude played as a goblin. Yeah.
So I play as a dwarf.
The goblin's master's
of course you do.
That's where he lost me.
So, and then you take jobs from the local people around, and then I want different things made. Like a graveyard keeper is having the dead rise from the grave, so he wants a new steel grated door to pull over to seal his hut.
Made of silver.
So you've got to bend the arch over the door, and then position all the cross beams to make the grate, and then you've got to rivet them all together in the door, and you've got to match the blueprint that is the job that the blueprint's always shown to you in the forge as you're doing the job. And you've got a certain amount of...
the axe thing that Pete was just talking about, because we saw the guy kept dragging the axe head to the thing, to being like, it's close, but not close enough. And I was like, yeah, man, keep positioning it wrong. Like,
yeah, well,
he was a dickhead.
I apologize for linking that video. I apologize for linking that video, but it's incredibly relaxing. I play this over nighttime. I load it up. I turn the music off. I put Spotify on in the background. I put a playlist on in the background. I play the music and just have the sound effects of the hammer hitting the molten metal on the anvil, and it puts me to sleep. I fucking love it. It's so good. It's two-dimensional. At one point, you have to make a helmet for someone, an armored helmet. you get a steel ingot and all you have to do is dome it. There's obviously no coning it around a mold of any sort. So it's all 2-dimensional in that way. So obviously you have to break reality to load that up. But it's a wonderful game done by one dev who, after the Next Fest, said, look, the response I've gotten from this, I'm not going to push the game back. Its release date was only about 4 days after Next Fest ended, which was 2 weeks ago. He goes, I'm not going to push it back. I'm going to release it on the date, and you guys can all help me like find any bugs and anything like that.
Yeah.
It's full released. I paid $30 for it.
It's collaborative, which is really nice.
Yeah. One guy, he's taken a lot of the criticism extremely well. There is one person that needs to shut the fuck up in the Discord channel because they are just hammering and they're answering questions for him. And it's like, mate, chill out. It's not your fucking game. Let the dev answer those questions. Just shut the fuck up. Let this one poor dude that is obviously working a day job.
It's a passion project.
As well as coming back and fixing this game overnight time. Just shut the fuck up and let him do it. But this guy just keeps jumping in and doing things, and it really, I'm to the point now where,
hey man, you can't bend steel that way. Maybe if you hit the forge up to a higher degree, you can maybe do it. It's like, shut up, shut up, you dickhead. Yeah. Just let the guy have his fun. Yeah.
Anyway, it's good fun. It's a good, relaxing game. If you've got any wish to do forging or fabricating of medieval armors and tools and weapons, and you want something relaxing to do, it's the Blacksmith, the Song of Two Kings is the way to go.
Yeah, nice.
Onwards and upwards.
Sweet. Onwards. We shall talk about our beers.
Last beers? Yeah. Who wants to go first?
Beers. I can go. I'm halfway through mine.
Go, Pete. Go.
Unless you want to go.
No. Go, Peter. No? It's time for you to talk about your beer. Go, Peter. Go, go.
I'm drinking Kaiju's Pleasure Cruise Hazy Pale Ale. You want to see that closer? It should, yeah.
Oh, got the Kraken.
Got the Kraken.
Yeah.
Yes. It's 4.8%. I have to admit that I did try this last night because I was thirsty and I bought 2 4-packs.
Treat yourself. You're worth it.
I did, and I am. It's great. Look, it's not going to redefine the genre. It's a hazy pale, so it's not very high in ABV. Like, it's not a 6%er. But it's nicely hazed, as you can see in my glass. It is not see-through. It's got a real light, tangy hop flavor through it. I don't know if you would describe it as, it's more orange juice than it is citrus. Like, it's juicy, but it's not bitey the way that you get out a lot of zestiness out of a lot of the other beers we've tried. You've got a question on the tip of your tongue.
Yeah, in terms of like pithy orange or like
juice orange? Yeah, it's got a little bit of the
bitey juice orange.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of pith around the edges, but it's mainly just juice.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. It's good. I mean, it's not trying to be anything it's not. I mean, Kaiju make fucking fantastic beers, as we know. This I'm sure this will be part of their core range, to be honest. Just looking at it in terms of, it's a hazy pale that nails the brief but doesn't do anything spectacular. I think it's a good core range beer.
In terms of like the like almost like sibling to the Kaiju Crush in terms of their like core pale kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to give it a 4. It's a nice round number. That's what I'm feeling.
Excellent.
That's what I'm feeling. What are you drinking, Tom?
I'm having the opposite of the last beer I had. So I just had and I'll put this in for you, Pete. So I just had a bracket. This is their West Coast.
Yep.
The one that's completely rubbed off the can. So I've had to go on the website to get the information. So this is it's their West Coast IPA style. It's a really deep West Coast color, like really deep golden, which when I see that indicates good West Coast IPA.
It's right on the verge of red.
Yeah. they use the same hops. So this is the thing I've discovered with this. I couldn't tell you because there's nothing on the fucking can. But yeah, so this is the West Side. It still uses Raquel and Nelson Sauvin. But obviously when they use different malts, you're getting a different expression of those style of hops coming through. This is a really malty, kind of not hop burny kind of like hop style coming through that West Coast IPA. It's just like really hop floral. Is probably the better way to describe it. So it's when I'm drinking it, it's right up in there. Like it's caught in my throat kind of thing, like the top of my throat. And it comes back every time I like that floralness comes through.
Yeah, right.
As opposed to like if you're having like an East Coast kind of style where it's like super hazy, super hop burny, you regurgitate that and it kind of like that sticks in your throat and it comes through and it's kind of burning. This is the malt is carrying it, but it's super floral and like in a really, really nice way.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You don't usually get malty and floral at the same time. Usually floral's what you'd expect out of something a bit lighter.
Yeah.
In my
I
opinion.
don't obviously just
interesting.
The way they've done it, they talk about cannabis notes. I didn't get any of that. Not that dank. It is delicious, but it's not that dank. It's the same ABV. It's 7.6 ABV. I'm going to give it a 4.5. I think it's much better than the East Side. I think the hops they've used really work better in this style. And just the way they carry them through, like the whole through flavor is better carried. The East Side kind of died off, whereas this is this is the whole way through the palate. So yeah, it's great. And yeah, my obvious like the way I want to get more West Coast, in my fridge is apparent here. But this is a expertly style, like it's delicious. Can't get enough.
Looks nice.
I'd have 17 pints of it.
At 7.6%, I think not, young
Oh, it's
sir.
whatever. It's just it's a new job. It's only tomorrow. Doesn't matter.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
Dan, what are you drinking, mate?
I am drinking
Burps.
another. Yeah. Well, that's why I muted myself.
Did you have a seizure? Are you okay?
Yep. Another Squinters. It's called Drop Your Daiquiris. It's
love it.
Sorry, there's a lot of sunlight coming through here at the moment. So it's a mango and vanilla smoothie.
Are you potentially squinting to see this can?
Yeah, definitely squinting to see these cans.
Give yourself an uppercut, mate.
It's actually really well balanced against the last one that I had was obviously a similar style. It's that oat creamy, lactose, vanilla styled New England. And this one doesn't have the tartness because obviously it doesn't have the lime in. The mango and the vanilla are really well balanced on the front end of it. It's very smooth. Once again, I've used this glass for the rest of the day, or the whole day, so no head retention on there, but that's to be expected. It's body-wise exactly the same as the Seeker and Stoic manual lime ice cream sour one. Lime ice cream sour? Yeah. So body-wise, same amount of lactose, same amount of residual sugar, but it doesn't have that sourness, that tartness to it. So it's really well balanced against that side for being a similar style beer. So I think another 4.25.
Nice. Very nice.
How good.
Yeah. Yeah, the mango comes through really well. Like, if the other one was a splice, this one is a wheat bar.
Yeah, okay, that's cool. I like that.
That's a great differential. Yeah,
I think that's why they balance each other so well, because that's the mindset that I'm in.
You can tell that you're a beer judge.
I'm going to quickly grab another beer and take a leak while we do Are You Winning, Son?
I'm going to breeze through my winning, son, because Pete's
I'm going to breeze
terrified.
through mine as well.
No, I'm going to do it because Pete's fucking terrified. I'm going to talk for like 16 hours. And you know what? It's fine. So I've for those who haven't,
Tom.
Fuck off. Go get your beer. Sorry, that was a big C-bomb.
You're going to have to tell him he's got to flag that one.
58, 54. No, so I have followed Peter's footsteps and I've started getting right through the Assassin's Creed collection. I've never played most of them. I skipped most of them, not for any particular reason, just at the time, none of them took my fancy. I have been playing multiple Assassin's Creed games at a time because I'm a psycho at the moment. I've also had, full disclaimer, I have just had the last 3 weeks off because I'm in between jobs. So as I told you guys, I rebuilt that PS3, so I jumped straight back in. So I've been playing Assassin's Creed 2, the original PS3 version. It is janky as fuck, and I'm so glad I got through it. And then I got through it, and I was just like, I don't give a flying fuck about what the modern Assassin's Creed story is. And I will come back to that when Pete's back, because I really want Pete's opinion on it. So I've jumped into the remastered version of Assassin's Creed Brotherhood on the PS4, which I'm playing on the 5, obviously. But it was on the PS Store. And then on the PS5, I've been going through like the modern, no. So from Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, I will then play Revelations. I will then go through Assassin's Creed 3. I'll then go through Liberations. I just platinumed Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, so I went back and did the multiplayer, which fucking sucked. And my big thing about PS4 games that had multiplayer is they never should have had them, and it's a dumb fucking thing the developers did to try and extend the lifetime of the game. And it's stupid, and it's led into the live service games, and you're idiots for doing it and condemn you to the depths of hell. Anyway, I still did it. So I went back and did Assassin's Creed 4 multiplayer. It was horrible. I had to play the same game mode. So I counted it up. I was getting 8,000 XP per game, which meant by the time I actually figured out how many games I had to play, I had to do 60 different games to get to level 55. But I did it. Assassin's Creed 4 multiplayer. Fuck you. That was dumb. Never again. Unity is the dumbest Assassin's Creed game I've ever played because the guy doesn't climb the way you want him to fucking climb. The currently trying to play the co-op. Yeah, I know Pete's fucking loving this. But trying to currently play the co-op, it won't connect you unless you disconnect your Uplay account from your PS account. And even then it goes, no, I don't like you. You can't play with your friends. You're going to have to play in random multiplayer.
That's a new bug.
No one knows how to play the fucking game, so that's fucking dumb. Anyway,
that's not a new bug.
No, I know it's not. It's dumb. It's dumb. Ubisoft, you dumb fucking idiots. Look, just the thing for me about Assassin's Creed,
Tom.
I know, but no, and this is the thing. So the Ubisoft that I've endured, I really don't care about the modern day Assassin's Creed story. Why do they keep forcing it on me? It's dumb, it's stupid, and I don't care.
It's been pointless since Desmond died.
Exactly. He dies? Good, because he's a fucking idiot. He's a fucking idiot.
You've seen him die. You've played through the first... Oh, shit, you haven't played through the first
No, I don't care, though. No, I'm
actually
really glad that he dies. That makes me happy. I'm going to play that game now so I get to the point where he dies. I'm going to celebrate by fucking shimmying on his
I got to
grave.
be honest, the AC series has never been the same for me since Desmond died. I really enjoyed the trilogy of games that he was in.
I hate the modern day story. It takes
the
me out of the
story
Assassin's
in
Creed
Unity,
story.
Modern day story
from 2.
Okay. Well, that will develop because it ends up being its own storyline in parallel to the games. And I understand what you're saying because I felt the same way in 2. But by Revelations, it'll change, I predict.
All right, well, we'll get to that because I'm currently going through Brotherhood. But every time I get taken out of the ancient story to go do the modern story, I'm pissed off.
Yeah, it's a chore. Like it. Well, it's even worse in Unity. It's worse in 3. Ever since... after Desmond dies, it's just pointless. No.
Syndicate was fucking fun as shit. I love Syndicate. I love playing as that oi governor. Let's go. I just thought the story was badly written because they kept portraying. They wanted the character they wanted you to enjoy is Jacob, and then suddenly they put the sister as like, no, stop it, Jacob. You're a bad man. Stop doing that. You're destabilizing the culture. And everyone was like, yeah,
culture.
But let us kill everyone as Jacob because he's a fun, like, oi, let's go. Come on. Tip the hat, governor. So yeah, look, it's fun to go through the AC series. It's especially coming from especially like knowing the way you played them. It's just it's fun to play. I will have to if I can do a little shout out to the guy who got me through AC4 and AC Unity. His PlayStation username, if you want to do it, is Horus Deathmatch. Dude's trying to do every AC game in chronological order for his like trophy collection. Like the dude's, he's committed to it, and I'm so happy for him. He's going through it and he's loving it.
The only one I'm missing is Brotherhood, but I did much the same. I just didn't do it back to back. Is he doing it back to back?
Yeah,
he's doing that would be a fucking chore.
Yeah.
I need to go back and do.
Now.
Yeah. I assumed you would. I've got to go back and do Brotherhood Platinum now that they've re-released it and removed all the ridiculous trophies.
I will say if you are doing the Ezio collection on PS4,
Trilogy,
which has Brotherhood on it, it is a really good remaster collection. We'll give them that. It's a very
I've started Brotherhood.
Yeah.
I started Brotherhood, but I'm like, oh shit, I'm going back to this graphic poxy shit. Feathers. Yay.
Yeah, feathers.
Anyway.
Also, so my new thing is I've jumped back into, which is a very obscure part of trophy hunting, which obviously I'm known for now, which is boosting communities. So I've jumped back into Battlefront 2015, and it's been amazing. I got through every single multiplayer trophy I fucking hated. I spent one afternoon, 7 hours with some college dudes from the US, and they got me through it. Got me everything that I fucking knew I wouldn't do. These guys were like,
college dudes in the US get a lot of people through a lot of things.
And they're like, let's do it. Let's go. Let's fucking play it. And so it's just been it's a really wholesome.
Have you joined a frat?
It's really nice. I haven't joined a frat yet, but I think I'm close. I think they might accept me.
Just the hazing to go.
Oh well, no, I've definitely been hazed because I got absolutely fucking monstered in just classic deathmatch. But yeah, no, it's been super fun. Going back to some old games. And some platinums that I never would have gotten if I hadn't found a community to help me to get them. And that was AC4.
That's
that multiplayer
cool.
fucking sucked. That was horrible.
Yes,
I never want to play Wolfpack again.
Sorry, but the Ezio trilogy for me, that multiplayer was unique and different and interesting, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Blending in as a clone, you've only got
AC4
8 skins in the map, and then you go to that, and it's just like, why did you guys fuck up? You created a unique mechanic inside a game that already had a bunch of unique mechanics. You really could have developed that further.
This brings back a big topic we've had before: is why are these perfect single player games forcing us to play multiplayer? And that's what I'm going back to now. That's the thing I'm raging against. I just don't think. I think the story of AC4 was brilliant. I loved AC4.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed.
Hang on, Black Flag. Yeah, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. So like playing
it all
Black
blends
Flag,
for me.
I know that's why I was trying to differentiate it with numbers. But yeah, Black Flag, like pirates, and it was such a beautiful story, and like the outside of the story, which wasn't just like being a plunderous pirate, was actually engaging.
They created an innovative game mechanic for the ship-to-ship combat. It wasn't perfect by a long shot, but it was at least innovative. Why the fuck
do I have to go back to some weird multiplayer where I just have to walk around like a shit map and suddenly blend in and go sink? You're dead. Bye bye. Anyway, I did it, so I'm done. And yeah, look, it's. I pledge my allegiance to the people who did it at the time. I take my hat off to them because it's a fucked multiplayer thing, and I wouldn't go through it without the boosting community. And I know Pete, you did this, so like my hat off is to you. But my big thanks is to my newly discovered boosting community. That is like old games multiplayers that are still active with servers, and it's just people who just want to help you. And it's so wholesome. You get messages from people like, hey, man, what trophies do you need? Let's do this. We'll do this game mode. We'll do this game mode. We'll do this game mode. We'll do them all in a row. Like, we'll make sure you get your thing you need. I need this weird, very weird thing. Do you think you can help me with it? I'll go, yeah, man, whatever you need. Let's do it. And it's just like, yeah. So I've been playing with all these like American college guys online where they're just like, hey, I really need you to trample me with an ATST 25 times. I'm like, yeah, man, I'll do it. Let's go. Let's jump online. It's the most wholesome online play that I've ever played. I'm really excited.
That's cool.
About it. Yeah.
When you get to Brotherhood and you start doing the multiplayer ones, because they took all the multiplayer out.
No, I'm playing the remastered version, so I have to do any of the multiplayer anymore.
Yeah, so okay, that's almost a shame for you to understand my pain. There was Abstergo Employee of the Month is the name of the trophy. I still memorized the trophy.
Yep.
15 different kill bonuses in the same match. It's a 12-minute match. And even with boosters, it was almost impossible to get.
Yeah.
I never got it. And I was in a boosting match. Like I spent hours in a boosting match with people who knew what you had to do. But to get the pistol kill and the same as the poison kill and the same as the fucking double kill. And
I've been playing with a guy online, and I did this with RDR1 to play those missions online. And the community I'm playing online, my main man, Horace Death Touch, and I throw it out to him. He's not going to listen to this, but I throw it out to him. He's the guy who got me through most of those.
Find that fucker on Instagram and add him.
No, he's such a cool dude. Like we just talk games all the time. And then it's two dudes just like while we're waiting for a game, we're just like, hey man, what's going on? He's telling me about his tattoo the other day. I was telling him about like I starting a new job. We're talking about work stuff, and it's just like, yeah, while we play
Tom's got a man
game.
crush.
Oh no, get him up here! I want to buff him. Like absolutely. Dude did yeah.
Well, that took a turn.
It's the most wholesome gaming I've ever been involved in. And I'm so glad that I have dived into it. And I would say this to all our listeners: if you have any games that you wanted to get a platinum for or like a achievement trophy for, and it's just multiplayer, jump online because there's dudes definitely doing it. There's communities who are definitely doing it. And if you want to do it, they'll help you do it. So I've discovered it. I'm now addicted.
That's cool.
Yeah. What are you guys playing? What are you winning, son?
Dan? No, you're on mute, bro.
You're on mute, you idiot.
It's very animatedly talking.
I was. I'm going to blast through mine because I want to hear about Elden Ring. So I think the last time we did one of these, I was part the way through Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty expansion, and I didn't have a full view of what that story looks like. Excellent. Like it was full CDPR story. It was emotional to the end, and the way it played out in the end and the choices you had to make were impacting on your character's story and lifestyle all the way through. And even Johnny Silverhand that's in your head, once you finish and make a choice at the end of the story and you get back into the main storyline and the main Night City open world, Johnny Silverhand makes a comment about, well, that's going to change things going forward. And I know it has minimal impact on where the main story ends up, but my character and me, or my character via me is already making different choices on what they are doing in the world because of the effects of what you did within Phantom Liberty go through. It's an excellent story. It's amazing. I love all the extra bits and pieces that they added to. So they had an extra area called Dogtown. The little weapons, the cache drops that I dropped in our chat the other day, which have the reverse Boba Fett, Jango Fett, Sonic explosion sound. I have my headphones on very loud when I play. That goes to Pete being able to hear himself through my headphones and the microphone. Only about 30 minutes.
Listeners can't.
Hopefully. Yeah, so I play my game music or my game sounds very loud, and to have one of those drones come through and have the Sonic explosion sound go off every time a package is dropped within Dogtown is really cool. Just to run around, be doing missions, and I'm like, I need to go over there, but I want to go over there because that's where the drone dropped it, and there's smoke coming up from the drop, so I need to go and get that shit. And it's a really addictive gameplay element that they've dropped into there. The new gang that they put in Dogtown is great as well, and it plays out through the rest of the story as well. So hats off to CDPR for introducing another fantastic story element to their game. I then went and jumped into Conan Exiles because I love the world of Conan and everything that it has to offer for all the movies. And I delved back into the Jason Momoa movie and then jumped back in and watched both of the Arnie movies as well.
Never seen the Momoa movie.
Really?
I dropped it in the chat that when I watched it again 2 weeks ago, I really enjoyed it. Like, it has its flaws, but I went into it the first time with really high expectations and it didn't meet those expectations. But going into it now with Conan Exile level expectations and a new modern way of looking at film, it's actually quite good. It's cohesive. It all exists within its world. It all belongs. The costumes are great. It feels like Conan. Momoa, I always said from the very first trailer and the actor announcement, I thought he was a great pick. I'd only at that stage seen him in Stargate Atlantis, and we knew he could handle himself. He was a very physical actor within Atlantis. He could handle blades and swords, and I was just like, yeah, you know what? He screams Conan to me.
He was MVP in Atlantis.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Yeah, he was. I mean, Shepard was a pretty good character, and that but Momoa there, it just pulling him in and making that absolutely mountain of a man shirtless, wearing half a kilt for 90% of the movie. Is just it's a draw card on both ends because every man wants to be him and every woman wants to have him, and it's just it was a win-win scenario all the way through. And the dialogue isn't as bad as what I thought it was originally. The actors are good. Rose McGowan plays a fantastic evil witch. She's just evil and she has this flair to her that when she's on screen, she has this creepy movement. She wears these steel claws, and I think she's good and great in that aspect. It's a shame we haven't seen her more in those kind of like Christina Ricci now has found her niche in those weird characters. Rose McGowan needs to get back in the game and find her Christina Ricci niche and Hollywood needs more of those weird, outlandish females. It's kind of missing. There's only those couple that want to play outside the stereotype kind of thing, and it's stereotypes on many levels.
Yeah,
but I think it's a great movie. I agree with Al. The ending lets it down. The ending fight was rushed and too CGI. It should have just been Conan with the big bad on a field doing their thing, but there was too much CGI dancing around, spinning wooden wheels to be fitting with the rest of the movie. I get away from Conan Exiles. Survival game. You're an exile in the Conan world. The soundtrack's excellent.
I've played it.
Oh, you have played it, have you? How far did you get through it?
I cheesed the platinum.
Oh, okay. I think the world's great.
But I can tell you, my favorite track from it is an Oasis of Calm. I think is one of the earliest tracks on Spotify.
It is one of the earliest.
Track 3. It is one of the greatest game soundtrack songs, and I listen to it daily. I fucking love it.
I completely agree.
It brings me calm. It brings me calm.
The best thing about that game is the soundtrack.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. It's wonderfully Conan across the ages. It's a building game. The building mechanics in there are great. The
Proper
aesthetic of it's great.
too. Like if you go too far without getting water, then you start to die.
Yeah. It's proper survival. You need food. You need everything to get through. The armor outfits are great. The exploration of the world is very interesting compared to other survival games. Other survival games push you to kind of generic biomes to get things and come back. Conan sort of pushes you to a biome, and then you see this thing that is an obscure something in the distance, and you go, "What is that?" And once you get up to it, it is something. It's substantial and it is interesting, and it's the thing that drives you forward to explore this world, to collect the resources from this biome and be able to survive, to say, hey, I want to see and explore more of what this is. The building is great. It's a fantasy medieval building thing. You can build castles, and you can go nuts from a very early element of the game. It's kind of where I want to get to in that. It's fun. It's very much Conan across the Momoa and Schwarzenegger movies. It all blends and is all wonderful. Trek to Yumi, I started playing that. It's very much a Kurosawa. Kurosawa. I'm not even going to try and say it now.
Kurosawa.
Yeah, there we go. Side-scrolling Ghost of Tsushima. It's all in Japanese. It's got a film grain on it. It's very arcadey. It's a couple of buttons here and there.
Cool.
You start.
Mine sits in waiting to start. I've played the first level, and I want to save it for when I'm ready for it.
Yeah, it was one of the first games I started a couple of weeks ago. It was one of the first games where Louise was sitting with me and she said, I don't like watching you play this. This is boring. And I'm like,
whoa.
That's what makes it perfect.
Yeah, it's not.
Slow,
for me,
it's contemplative.
Really?
And that's exactly
Zen.
what it was.
Wow.
It was slow.
Yeah.
She wasn't reading. It was all in Japanese and it was black and white. And she wasn't reading the subtitles. She wasn't invested in the character and the story with me going forward. It's a two-dimensional gameplay, but because you're already invested in the two-dimensional, three-dimensional world, that you're invested in all of the dimensions of it, as where somebody that's only a quarter paying attention to what you're doing isn't invested in it. So I'm like 20% through the gameplay of it. I'm enjoying it. It's arcadey. You can pick it up and you can put it down. It's not super complicated.
I quit the first mission, so yeah, I wanted to come back to it when I was ready for it.
Yeah, definitely, and
emotionally ready for it.
Yeah, and I think so. I think it will actually play out to be quite an emotional story. It starts off that way with a master and apprentice storyline, and the master's daughter gets brought into it with the apprentice, and then it does a time jump, and I think it's going to be a very interconnected story all the way through, and that's fun. And then my other one is Blacksmith, which I've already talked about. So I've played a lot in the last 4 weeks, as well as some other bits and pieces like Green Hell.
Yeah, I love listening
Space
to your
Hulk.
voice. If you could shut up so I can listen to Pete, because I want to hear about Elden Ring, that'd be
Yeah, so do I. Yep. That's where I was getting. I'm going to need to wee in a minute. So.
Nah, go, Peter. Let's hear it.
So I finished God of War Valhalla. We talked about that, or God of War. Ragnarok Valhalla. God of War. Listen, I'm drinking this. This is fucking spectacular. We have tried this on the podcast before.
The way you said God of War, like he's the ultimate builder.
So this is the Bloodshot Red IPA from Ekin Brewing, but it was canned so 3 days ago.
Oof.
Like, it is fucking chewy and it's so damn good for a red. So damn good.
Elden Ring, Peter, don't let us. Come on.
I've got to say, it is the most unique and fun gaming experience I've had in maybe 20 years. I never expected it. I genuinely never expected it. It is difficult, but it's not so difficult that I've had to fight the same boss more than 3 times and lose. So it's not impossible either. I've never farmed anything, so I've never gone out of my way to level up to be able to out-level this shit. I feel like I probably did out-level some of the earlier bosses just naturally, and so they were probably intended to be a lot more difficult than they were. But the world, the setting is just so creative and unique. I've never played a game like it. And yes, it carries on from the Bloodborne series, so the aesthetic is quite similar. I sent you guys some screenshots, which I'll throw up on the video, YouTube version of the podcast.
Great.
Soulsborne,
yeah. the monsters, it's Kingdom Death Monster, which is a board game I've talked about years ago, in a video game. You have these dudes with these long drawn faces and these big pustulous beards, but then they've got like mushrooms growing out of one side of their face that's completely overtaken their face, and their body's actually a dragon, but they're split open and there's bloody arms coming out at you while you're fighting this thing. It's just like even
Fucked
the
up.
base, it's fucked up and it's scary, and there are there's jump scare moments, but I don't think it's intended to be jump scare as much as horror.
Okay.
Really unique game mechanics. It has one resource / currency in the whole game. And so every time you kill something, you gain runes, and you can spend those runes on weapons and armor or necessary keys to unlock doors, or you can spend those runes to to level up. And so the leveling mechanic is the same as the purchasing mechanic in the game. It's one resource for the whole game.
Right. Okay.
That's very unique.
Yeah. If you die, you leave all the runes that you were holding behind. If you die a second time before you collect them, they're gone for good.
Yeah.
But just working through the bosses, I'm about 2/3 of the way through all of the bosses that you have to kill for the platinum. And there's probably 5 or 6 more bosses that you don't need to get for the platinum that I'll go and do anyway. And the lore is utterly unique. I've never read anything like it before. And it's not spoon-fed to you. No one explains what the fuck's going on. You just dropped into this world in a pair of underpants and a stick. Like, that's literally how you start. Depending on the class that you pick, I picked the knave, so you do start the game in underpants and a stick. And the first thing you see when you emerge from the little tomb that you're in is this knight in full armor who's at least 7-8 foot tall on a war horse who's fully barded in armor, and that thing can kick your fucking ass. It's unapologetically difficult. It's one of the best like I said, it's one of the best gaming experiences I've had in 20 years.
That's great.
And
that's so good.
And then the environmental creativity is spectacular too, and that's what I've tried to represent in some of those screenshots, is the variety of
it looks amazing.
Environments.
Yeah.
You know, there's oceans or there's lakes of rot.
Wait, where are you putting screenshots?
On WhatsApp in the break.
Oh,
I sent like 8 screenshots.
My phone's on Do Not Disturb.
With your telecommunication device.
There's a couple of... So I've got a couple of pictures of this grotesque boss that I fought. I managed to take a few screenshots in the middle of combat, which I'm pretty proud of.
Like, hey, baby, how are you?
I'm pretty proud that I managed to grab those screenshots in the middle of a boss fight. So that was between phases, because it was a 2-phase boss fight. You have to beat him twice. And he's the serpent with the fucking split around his sides where all the bloody arms are coming out at you.
I do like the fact that you have the crest. You've got a little crest on your armor there.
Yeah, that's my current armor set.
Yeah.
There's a shot where I'm standing with a tree in the background, and that is actually, you're on the tree. This is the Erd tree, one of the Erd trees.
Yeah.
And there are many in the game. Well, this is actually a Halig tree. And this is what I really love about the lore. It's different and unique, but it's not spoon-fed to you. You have to read the text that describe the weapons and the armors and the ashes of war, which are like almost spells that you attach to weapons. You have to read through all the text and kind of piece together the lore bit by bit. There's quests in it, but they're not traditional quests. There's no log.
Okay.
She doesn't tell you, like the Renna, who's the lady with the big weird hat, Dumbledore style hat that I sent you a picture of.
Mushroomy thing.
So she's actually a goddess. She's a goddess, and she has a series of quests, and if you follow all the way through the quest line, it will lead to a unique ending that you can elect to go through. But it's not. She never at any point says, "Go here, do this." She just says, "Oh, I'm the Queen of the Moon was cast out of heaven, and I say heaven in heavy quotation marks.
Yeah.
You know, I lost this thing, and then you might encounter it on your travels, or you may not. So yeah,
Wow.
I can tell why it won Game of the Year. I really can, and not as difficult. Like it's probably the hardest game I've ever played, but it's not as impossible to beat as I expected. So it is definitely accessible.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. That's good.
Like I said, I've never lost a fourth time.
So I might lose
I
7 or 8 times, and then we'll go back to it.
I got to say the Valkyrie, the Valkyrie fight at the end of God of War on maximum difficulty was way more difficult than any fight I've fought in Elden Ring. Way more difficult.
I hated that.
I think most people
absolute
did.
Passion.
But the thing is, if you can't beat a boss, you could walk away and go and level up. And as long as your build wasn't stupid, then because I think it's an 8 stat game. I think there's 8 or 9 stats, and they're interesting stats because you've obviously got your standard 3 bars, so health, endurance, and mind, which is like spell casting. It's also special moves because each weapon has its own like special attack, and that costs mind. But then you've got endurance, strength, faith. I can't remember all of them, and it's kind of irrelevant anyway. But like, there's a lot of stats in the game that you can play with that will affect your build. So you can be a heavy spellcaster. You can be. I've built my entire character around using a specific sword that I found early on in the game called the Bloodfang's Blade, and it makes characters bleed, and it's fantastic for about 90% of the creatures you encounter, but the other 10% don't bleed, and it's fucking useless. So it's got like there's an invisible, like an unspoken, like an undeclared bar, and if you cut down their health, it's almost like a shield. You'll make them bleed, and you'll do a shitload of damage in one hit, but only once you get past that bar. So I don't know if I'm making sense, but it's
No, you're making complete sense. I 100% get what you were saying. Yeah,
but the aesthetic is
that's frustrating as fuck. Yeah,
but it's not. It's such an enjoyable game. Like I've.
Oh no, that would shit me to tears. Oh, no.
It's one game
you got someone down, and then they suddenly were like, "Oh no, new health bar." Like, no, I killed you.
Well, no. So that bleed bar is kind of an undeclared bleed bar that you might hit 4 or 5 times in an encounter, but they've only got 1 health bar.
Okay.
So I'm saying it's like an invisible shield. If you break through the shield, then you'll do bonus damage, but you're doing damage every time you hit it.
Okay. Oh, okay.
You have to roll at the exact right moment, which is exactly what you'd expect out of that type of game. There is a block mechanic. I've never explored it. I've literally never even attempted to block a single attack because I'm not a build that uses a shield. I'm just not.
You're usually a paladin.
Yeah, I'm played a very different type of character. I go balls to the wall. And then you've got summons during boss fights, so you can summon ghosts that can help you in your combat, which is Souls-esque, apparently. Like that's been in all the other games. And I use what's well known as the most powerful one, which is a mimic, and it literally creates a second copy of you that runs around as a ghost and inherits your weapons and combat and abilities and all the rest of it. So, I think you would both enjoy it for very different reasons, and I think you would not hit the frustration barrier that you're probably worried about.
I think I'll probably smash out Banishers, and then Elden Ring will be the next one that I jump into.
Yeah, cool. I know Tom's keen to play it.
I know. I am keen to play it, and I really like hearing your style of playing it. I think that really excites me, the way you play it. That draws me in more than like seeing a review of something, like knowing you and just being like, yeah, I want to play it like Pete plays it. But yeah, it's a long way down my list, unfortunately, because I have a very long fucking list.
The one thing I will say is you learn about 15 hours in that just because the monster is the size of a skyscraper, it doesn't mean that it's going to necessarily kick your ass. because all of the monsters are huge in this game. Like 20-foot tall is average. Yeah. Anyway, that's what I've got to say on the topic.
That sounds fucking amazing. Yeah. I'm very keen to jump into it. I know you've been, I wouldn't say pressuring me, but you've been.
No, we talked about it at the start because you and I were going to launch the game together, and then I felt like a bit of an asshole because I felt like playing a game and didn't wait for you.
No, it's because I was lost in the ether. I was 17 miles back. And like, go, Peter, run. Go, please play the game.
Very glad.
It's super exciting. I'm super glad you've jumped in and you show us what the game is about. That's really cool. That's exactly what I want. So, yeah.
I'm in end-game content now, and I can tell you the difficulty curve is ramping.
Oh, so you finished
very
the main
quickly.
story, yeah?
No. So I guess true end-game
content.
I probably misspoke. I'm at the end of the game content. So I'm up to the final 3 bosses in the main story, and I've got about 11 bosses total to kill because there's a bunch of trophy bosses that are optional.
Yep.
But I'm at the end of the game, and the curve is just like fucking even the trash mobs are kicking my ass now. Like you have to think about it.
Okay.
It's not a game you can play drunk. I can definitely confirm that.
I mean, that sounds like something we could do.
You can be tipsy.
You've never heard of drunken pool masters?
I've done a lot of stuff myself quite drunk successfully. This is not one of those games.
I was about to say, is there a whole form of kung fu that's around drunkenness?
Drunken boxing.
Basically me playing any first-person shooter. Yeah.
Anyway, it's fantastic.
No, that's very cool, Pete. I am super excited to jump into Elden Ring, and I'm glad that you've done the recon for me. So thank you.
I'm somewhat surprised, given all of the preparatory discussion that we've had for that type of game. I was pleasantly surprised.
Oh, good. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Yeah. Anyway, I think that's us. We're done.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Thanks very much for listening.
Absolutely. Look, game well, watch well, be well. See you later. You dogs.
Bye.
Like and subscribe.
Oh,
yes.
That was
definitely do that.
That was dirty. The fact you couldn't even get it out.
Bye.
Finale.